Hi everybody, and welcome to another very special hobby stream. And Adrian, Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
I am here with Adrian, the quintessential, the man, the legend, Adrian Phillips. Adrian, what are you working on today?
I am so excited to be here, first of all, and I'm working on an Achilles Ridgerunner. Some might say it's not a tank. I agree, it's more of a lifestyle. And we're here to celebrate all things vehicle here today.
I was prepared to rib you a little bit for it not really being quite a tank, but saying that it's a lifestyle is, I think, got you out of a lot of it.
Thank you.
I will be working on a T'au Devilfish.
Oh, very nice.
My T'au have been on tabletop tines a couple times.
Gorgeous.
But I've actually never painted them on stream.
You've
at
never
all.
painted them, huh?
I have I have not painted. I have like 4,000 points of T'au.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
maybe more than that. I have not painted a T'au model this calendar year.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it's such a cool, striking scheme.
Thanks.
Very Baja Blast, and so I think there's a lot of people
Blast.
curious how you do it.
How
right?
we get that Baja
Yeah.
Blast signature look. Okay, folks, super excited. We're gonna jump on in. Let's get creative. Okay, here it is, the Achilles Ridgerunner. This is the one with dudes in it. What's the difference between dudes in it and dudes not in it?
Dudes and no dudes, it kind of depends on the amount of abuse that I put it through, and also storage, to be honest.
Okay.
So this other one that I'm holding here doesn't have them on it, and the reason also I chose to kind of show you this is the full model. I'm going to be painting it without Deuterinos today, just for time. This is a very detailed model, as you can see, and we're going to be focusing on painting the actual tank part of it, the vehicle. So no basing, no riders. But this is a beautiful model painted by Mr. Izzy Sanchez himself, good friend of ours. And my goal today is to try to match it as closely as possible within the time span that we have. This is, of course, from Jeff Robinson's collection of Genestealer Colt, and so it's actually painted by 3 different artists, including, so it's Izzy, myself, and also John McCool, as we kind of did different commissions for Jeff. Now it's my collection, and it's time to grow it. I have 2 of these, but they run in squads of 3. And I hear we have a book coming up, so
there is a book coming
we're here
up.
to add to it.
There might be a book coming up for what I'm working on too in the near future.
So I've been told.
Yeah, no surprise.
Yeah.
Adrian and I are excited about the factions we love, having books coming out. We don't know exactly when these books are coming out. Things have been bumped a bit.
They just said
right?
they got pushed to early 2022, and the T'au Codex they also said is one of the first codexes of 2022. So, you know, I'm expecting January and February, but you know, it's all speculation.
Close enough, blood in the water, close enough, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we're rip roaring and ready to go. So
yeah. So we're gonna just kind of do a nice pre-Thanksgiving Day chill here. Adrian's gonna be doing his thing. I'm going to be doing my thing.
Absolutely.
We're going to be hopping back and forth. Let me show you guys where I'm at on my tank right now.
Totally.
And then I will show you guys also where we're going to get to. So I have the top view here. You'll say, oh wow, he's quite far along here.
So fast.
Not really, right?
Like
so
2 seconds.
So all I've done right now is put my first coat of paint down, which is Minotaur Dark Green. Okay, so that's step 1.
Nice hunter green there.
Yeah, it was primed black previously. Okay, then we have Cerbite Green. This is a Citadel color, and I actually bottle this up for my own. Like, you know, people say, oh, I don't like the GW bottle.
Yeah.
So I get that. These are actually my favorite types of bottles.
Totally.
They have everything. They squirt.
Right.
You can return the paint easily, which I like to be able to do.
Perfect.
Right. So
That's Minotaur ones?
no, these are just mixing bottles that I bought.
Okay, even better.
And add it, yeah.
It makes it kind of more magical, you know? It's like you've even if you're just kind of putting water into a bottle, like a cool bottle, now it's magic potion.
Yeah.
I kind of feel the same about
It's
this.
a little bit of a magic potion feel. And the thing is that if you're going to be using a color that much, then yes, you get like this style bottle.
Totally.
And this is the color of my T'au.
There you go.
So I have, hopping back to this view here real quick, I have also coated this with Cerbite Green. Every place that's going to be Cerbite Green. You can see there are still some black parts here. And I will go ahead and put my finished Devilfish on the glam cam here for you guys. So we can see where we're going to today, with a couple exceptions.
Oh,
We're
so
zoomed in quite a bit, but I think that's okay.
Yeah.
One thing I won't be doing today, and listen, probably ever again, is the stencil. The stencil is going to come around here. It is on the front right side of the tank. Oops,
Yeah.
forgot to turn our stereo off. Those stencils right there I'm not in love with.
Sure.
I think the problem is that I painted them in the same color as a lot of my glow. And so gives this weird look of like, is that glowing? Is
Right.
that supposed to be glowing? Like what's happening with that, right?
Exactly. It doesn't. You're not sure if it's paint or design or glow, and so like these, what you would call like diegetic elements, things that are actually in the story,
Exactly.
are kind of confusing what that actually is.
Exactly. And so I have since painted more tanks. This will actually only be my second Devilfish.
Oh, okay.
Devilfish were, you know, we didn't use them a lot in previous editions.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's fun to use because it is super fun to load up a bunch of fire warriors,
Yes.
just like pull up, they hop out. They're like, we're not worried about like any kind of like smashing something. You know, like everybody in 40K is running out with like a chainsaw to like hit T'au, just like up, hopping out, like let's just start shooting.
But it's a transport and it's a classic transport. So, you know, much hope for it in the new book, and what a gorgeous classic model.
Yeah, I already have the drones done, so I won't need to do that either today.
Easy peasy.
Okay, with that in mind, I know I'm gonna get going. You ready?
Yeah, let's get creative.
Okay, what are you starting with here?
So what I'm going to start off today with, I think, is we're going to do some undercoating, basically. And I know you guys have talked about masking before, and you know, do's and don'ts. And Zach and I are very much of the same mind on this kind of stuff, where I'm going to go ahead and do what the highlight color is. So for example, you can see here, possibly I have red stripes here, red stripe here, and I also have some hazard striping on the side. And so what I'm going to do is actually going to go ahead and do the red and the yellow first. We're going to mask that off, and we'll just leave it there until we do all the rest of the airbrushing.
Yep.
And we'll move on to the other big areas, big chunks. So that's the plan for today. There's a little GSC symbol here. I'm probably not going to try to freehand that today, mostly just for time. But you can see it's a beautiful one, and I think actually Izzy did it by hand inverted. But just for the sake of time, we're gonna start with these and mask them off.
Yeah, nice.
Cool.
All right, let me go ahead and get going here, guys. I've got paint locked, ready to go here. So let me talk about the next step here. So all Cerebite green. This first color that I'm going to be using is a 1-1 mix of Cerebite green, and it is called Othron Gray. This is also the Citadel color. This is like the super light, super cool gray. It's almost a white, quite frankly. And so I mixed this 1-1, and I'm gonna grab my Devilfish here for reference.
Absolutely.
What I tend to do when I paint something like this is I'm gonna try to find some points where I'm adding light, right? But keep in mind that this highlight color is actually not the final one. We will end with my favorite, which is Minotaur Skull, Snow White. Actually, you know what? I think that's incorrect. On my T'au, I used Uthorn Gray. Sorry, is the
You
final
just wanted to say Minotaur Skull
Minotaur
White.
Snow White.
Sorry.
In this case, but I love saying Skull White as well. I always love talking about my Minotaur Whites. They are here, but they're going to be on the glow effect. So Uthorn Gray is our final highlight color. So with the 1-1 mix, which you can also see I've bottled up, I'm going to be a little more aggressive about where I highlight. I'll be here, as you can kind of see here. So there are some points, and what I'm thinking about when I start my second to last highlight is where my last highlight's going to go. My last highlight is going to go here. It's 5 points, right? So it's here, 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5.
Oh,
so
yeah.
kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, and this is kind of an area altogether. So I will be highlighting around that area right now with the 1-1 mix.
I love it.
Okay, is that thing running okay?
Yeah, it's good. I just finished with this paint, so very small portions right now. I've gone ahead and I've just laid out the red, and you can see I'm being very non-specific at this point. Just hitting up this door, hitting up this vague stripe, and hitting up this sort of side paneling where that stripe's going to be. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to doing some of this hazard striping here on the side, and then I think I might even try these headlights, which Izzy's gone ahead and done with this yellow. And usually when I do yellow, I'll hit it up with white as an undercoat and then yellow. I'm assuming this Reaper yellow is probably pretty thin, right, Zach? You've used it a bit.
Oh, do you need to thin it?
Meaning I should probably stick with the white underneath, right? It's not a very thick yellow.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think
You
you'll
think
be
you
okay.
can do it onto black?
Oh,
Oh,
I would try it. I
do
think
it.
you might be okay.
I'm into this.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna give it a go.
Yeah, give it a go. I think you might be okay.
Cool. I'm
Let me do one more kind of zoom down here on me so you guys can see.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's not me. There we go. So you guys can see sort of where I'm going here with the 1-1 mix. I'm really hitting just a lot of areas that are more prominent, and I'm always kind of thinking like the view is this way, right? So I like my hammerheads, my devilfish, my T'au vehicles look kind of most striking either top down or head on.
Yeah.
And so that's where my highlights are going. Here, doing a little bit back there. I'm not really, I don't do a lot on the side of the vehicle. I will do a little bit, but not very much. And of course I love the front here. I love the rim on the front and these edges here. I love the T'au vehicle. Adrian and I, in a little bit here, are going to talk about our favorite 40K tanks.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I love the T'au vehicles. I love the aesthetic of smooth and just flowing lines mixed with kind of like their blockiness.
Absolutely.
It's really like a blend of a Sciony or Dragali vehicle and an Imperial vehicle.
Right.
And quite frankly, that's kind of how they behave in the game, right?
Absolutely.
So, you know, I think at one point we months ago we were talking about, you know, if I lined up a wave serpent, a devilfish, and a rhino, and asked anyone to sort them in fastness, I think most people will get it right.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, most people would say like, oh, the rhino, or not. Let's say not rhino. Let's say Primaris Impulsor.
Right. You would say the Eldar's the fastest. This is kind of the middle.
This is the middle.
The Rhino's the slowest.
Yeah.
They have such a unique design. You know, I think it's easy to forget when you've been playing this game for so long. It's like the T'au have this design you'd never seen before. It's kind of wild. I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Adrian, actually, can you do me a favor? Over
Sure.
on there's some toothbrush. Is there a toothbrush over there?
There is.
Can you hand me? Yeah, there we go.
Is this your like personal toothbrush?
This is not my personal toothbrush.
Okay.
Yeah, I leave that at home. Okay, we do have a couple super chats come in here already.
Oh, yeah.
And so thank you so much, by the way, if you are super chatting. We really appreciate it. Legal ET says, do you think expensive dry brushes, such as Artist, Opus, etc., are worth the investment? What's a good way to map turquoise as the primary color and orange on T'au vehicles? Okay, well, second question first. Good way to map turquoise, primary, and orange on T'au vehicles. We know a guy who's painted T'au that are those two colors.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's Israel's colors on his T'au. So do we have his Instagram? Is it Izzy?
Sure, it's easy for me to pull up. I think it's, just Izzy_Sanchez.
Yeah.
And I, honestly, for certain things, I will actually kind of go back and study. You can do this with any sort of painter that you admire their work. You can look and you can study how are they approaching a certain model in a certain way. Yeah. So let me see. It's, so Izzy, IZZY_painting_studio. And so often what he does, when they mean mapping, they mean sort of like what parts of the model would they do which way?
Exactly.
Okay. So often...
I thought you were telling me.
It was a question.
Okay. Oh, it was a question. Okay, then...
When they say mapping, I'm not quite sure.
I think we're right.
We're on the same page.
I think.
Well, at least as long as you and I can agree, and we'll talk about that. I don't know if this is helpful. But.
Yeah, Legal ET, if you mean something else, let us know. I'll look in chat.
So the main body is this turquoise, this kind of blue, and the orange often acts as a highlighting color. And so sometimes what he'll do is he'll pick out certain panels. You can see. So for example, Zach, even on his devilfish here, has this panel that's picked out as black.
Yeah.
And so this is one of two ways you can do this very well with T'au stuff. Is you can pick out an item like that. The other way, which again we're seeing it on a smaller scale here, but you can do like little stripes, little kind of designs. And I've seen Izzy kind of do both of these methods, where it's a panel that's in this bright orange, and sometimes it's like a full stripe, for example. So I think like one of the first things that actually right now, even when I just pulled up his Instagram account, it's kind of these like wing stripes on these mantas.
Yeah, not a lot.
It's not a lot at all. It's very reserved,
which is good, right?
It's important. You don't want to overdo, especially with two colors like that, where they're very intense.
What is his Instagram?
Izzy. So IZZY_painting_studio.
Let's write it because
it's like we have a paper whiteboard or something.
We're gonna be referencing him a bit here today.
Absolutely.
Since you're doing it, so.
Do you have a pin or anything for some of these clog paints?
Oh yeah, use my
You got a declogger?
You can use my pointing needle, which is just an old airbrush needle.
You're
okay, perfect. So it is
at, so, yep, Izzy underscore, yep, painting underscore studio. I believe in you and your long arm. Hey-oh, there it is. Go ahead and check it out on Instagram. Awesome, awesome work.
Yeah.
And he's painted a few of our armies. We've got the GSC, the Necrons, Brian's new AdMac. So, yeah.
Yeah, great, great stuff. And I think you know, another way I'll drop my guy back on here. Another thing with T'au that you can do, especially again on larger models, it's always easy to get the secondary colors in on larger models. Panel lines is one. And as Adrian was saying, I've done black panel lines. I've also left other areas black, like weapons in the back here, the vents. And then the other thing you can do, a lot of T'au, if you're into airbrush glow effect, I think T'au are really probably the best 40k army for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe them and Necrons, right? So, of course, I find any way to work in glow effect, personally.
That's right.
But I think like the glow effect, frankly, can be how you get your secondary color on T'au.
100%. I think that glow effect, be open to like picking, you know, there's always this question like, well, what color is your plasma? Like, shouldn't it be one color? It's like, no.
What color looks good?
Whatever looks good.
Yeah, whatever.
Over realism 100% every single time.
Yep, on glow effects.
So
definitely, I agree with you.
Look at again, Brian's AdMac, which, you know, Colin Ward painted, and it's that bright blue, and then his like lenses and his plasma, it's all this bright pink, which is like totally wild and different, but it pops so well. So you can be kind of using it like that. So I've gone ahead and I finished up my yellow here, and you know, shout out to this high density pigment.
It covered
MSC bones. Yeah, it covered really, really nicely.
I don't tend to have problems.
You know what it is?
Oops, what did you say? Oops.
Sorry.
To be clear, that pot of paint was closed. This oops made me wonder what was going on. I was like, that can't be an oops.
You're just watching the disaster. The oops was me going off camera for you guys. So anyways, I'm a creature of habit, so I've been using the Vallejo Game Air Yellow.
Oh, I see.
It's like gold yellow, and it's very thin, right? It's pre-thinned air paint, whereas this is a more versatile one. It's a bit thicker.
Yeah.
So anyways, I finished this. I am going to go ahead and start masking stuff off.
Yeah, while he does that, let me take another super chat here from Willow. Willow, thank you as always.
Hello.
Willow, happy Thanksgiving, Hobby Titans.
Woo.
Great thing, great timing as I'm just starting a Genestealer call, my own Genestealer call collection. Willow,
Perfect.
you've written a very normal super chat here, and I'm just like stumbling my way through it. Let's start again. Willow says, happy Thanksgiving, Hobby Titans. Great timing. As I just started my own GSC collection. Gonna need notes for the Ridgerunner. What a detailed tank.
Fantastic. Well, you still said it wrong, because it's Happy Tanksgiving.
Happy Tanksgiving, she said, which is really like what we've been saying all day here.
Yeah, clearly. That's awesome, Willow. Such a cool army. It's absolutely amazing. And I think, you know, while it's a bit of a bummer that we're not gonna get the book for another month, it's never too soon to be starting your GSC collection, because it's a massive detailed collection with gorgeous models. So it's like, by the time the book comes out, you kind of want to be ready. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you'll be ready for this year's book next year. So yeah. Hopefully, I'll get you some notes. Again, I haven't painted this model before, so I'm going to be kind of learning along with you.
And look, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, frankly, if you want to play T'au, you should be buying Fire Warriors now.
Yeah, don't wait to
like Fire Warriors and Crisis Commanders.
Yeah.
If you want Devilfish, like just start buying some stuff.
Get those troops. You know.
Buy stuff that you troops and commanders. And here's my third layer.
Yes.
Buy stuff that you absolutely know you want.
Yes.
Whether it's going to be good or not, you just want it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You just know you're going to want it.
You don't want to be something that, even if tomorrow it becomes so bad and unplayable, you're like, you know what, but this is a sick model, I'm happy I have it.
Exactly. Okay, guys, so what I'm going to knock out here real quick is a few spots, kind of the 5-point technique here.
Oh, cool.
So it's going to be 1, 2, here on the front, 1 on the front of the nose, and then these areas right here up top that I'm going to hit with white. And I'm really being careful. This is very thought out airbrushing right here. I'm really making sure I'm only hitting certain areas. I always have kind of this bright spot on my nose here. So there we go. It is white, so it does like to pull up at the tip of your airbrush. So as always, I like to shoot somewhere else first.
Right.
To get if there's any splatter, or do my toothbrush trick. Couple points here. Not going all over the place with this. Got to really, really think about where this one is going. So boom, boom, boom. Okay, and now the next kind of area is up here. And specifically what I do is hit some of these little ridges in a cluster.
Ridges?
Ridge, yeah, ridge. You're just going to listen for that all day.
Sorry.
Okay,
Carry on, you're doing great.
Here we go, one here. There, one kind of up there, like that. And then same thing over on this side. So, I saved, you just saw me airbrush kind of like 3 distinct parts of the tank. Here, here, and here, but they're all right next to each other. And so I kind of consider this 2 of the 5 points. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I could do this as well, and maybe I will. That's technically a 6 point, but I think it's okay. On this Devilfish, I actually have the Pathfinder drone in currently. And on, if we take this out and put the other part I have in, the hatch is open, so I didn't airbrush that.
Gotcha.
But on the closed hatch, I think I'll just go ahead and give it a little bit of white too. Okay, and that's almost it for my airbrushing on these things. On the back, I actually don't do any of the white typically. Yeah, so I'm not going to now either. Okay.
Sounds great.
Yeah, we have a couple other super chats. Let's get to those before we lose them. We do have our bot, so...
Yeah, what about the Bridger bot?
We do have the Bridger bot down here.
Any tests tonight?
No test. Thank you, Ozmaka. Zach, I noticed you sharpening your blades by pushing the edge forward on the block last time. Does Adrian do the same? I think I do it backwards. Okay, well, Ozmaka, what I will say is that... I was not doing like the circular motion thing, and Brett came in and was like, aren't you supposed to do circular motion? On that dry diamond sharpener, they instructed me on the back of it to do what you saw me doing
interesting.
That last week, which is, pushing them away.
Something particular about it?
Yeah, so I think that the point is this. One, you don't have to do the circular motion. Okay? I think you could do it towards yourself, but I don't think the back of any box is ever going to tell you to do that, right? Just for safety. They're always going to tell you to go away from yourself. So if you are going towards yourself, it's probably still working. I think they would just argue, or anyone would argue that, like, if you're going to cut yourself, that's the way you're going to do it. Right? As opposed to going away from yourself.
Makes sense.
So
I think that's a valid point.
I guess to answer your question, on one hand, you're doing great. You're doing it right. On the other hand, you might cut yourself. And actually, like, you really probably won't, but I think they're just like, if it's suddenly going to like slide into your sternum like a X-Acto knife blade into your chest. Like
final destination.
That's the way it's going to happen, not when you're going away from yourself.
And that would be impressive. You're like, I should probably not demonstrate with an actual knife. You're like, I don't truly know which way is the true blue way to do it, but what you're saying sounds, I would believe you. Yeah,
I mean, typically the move is the circular motion with most traditional whetstones that require the mineral oil.
Right.
But
this is a dry one. For whatever reason, it's suggesting this way.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Oh man, I'm regretting these stripes already.
Why is that? Oh, cutting the tape.
It's just so much pre-work.
Yeah.
That's masking, right? It's like all this work, and then you're done in like 2 seconds in theory.
Yep.
So I'm just cutting these strips, applying them here, and it'll be cool, I think.
I'm going to do some decals today, and the reason I wanted, typically we are not always in love with showing decals on stream, because it's a slow process.
So you feel like I'm going slow enough.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. I like decals for frankly the points of interest that they add, and so here, on the Devilfish here, we've got the designations on the front. This I'll do. This is the T'au number. I think this is. Actually, I don't know what number this is. 2? I think might be. No, it's no, it's not 2. I'm going to be putting the T'au number 3, which looks like our letter C, but backwards.
Oh, nice.
And I'm going to put this and this, and these points add a lot for me. I do also have T'au length sept markings all on my doors. Because they give you these sept markings, these great sept decals.
So cool.
As you can see. I don't necessarily always play my T'au as T'au length, and certainly in 8th edition, I think I probably never did. But I'm not going to do those today because, they're actually a little bit more of, I pick the model up, I look around on it, cool, T'au T'au set markers there.
Right.
That looks great. But for today, I just want them here because I think that the ones I'm putting on are, like, I kind of consider them part of the paint job.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? They're part of, like, I factor that in when I'm like, where are my points of interest?
Totally.
How are we doing over here?
Good, I just covered up my headlights.
Oh, can you move forward just a little bit?
Sorry, hanging back, hanging in the shadows as a good GSC would.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm just hitting up the whole thing at this point with Corvus Black, which is a black I love, and it's a slightly lighter black. It's almost a gray, and it's very, very matte. And so this is going to be kind of my undercoat, and it's going to be the primary color for these wheels, and actually that's basically it. But at this point, because I've masked off the other areas, this is totally fine. We're just going to hit it up with this. And then I think what we'll do is we will mask off, we'll continue to mask, I'm just going to cover this whole thing in tape, mask off the wheels, and we're going to go for the chassis, essentially, with this build-up of gray. It's pretty simple overall, actually.
Yeah,
like
we were kind of eyeing it up beforehand, and you were wondering what was going to be involved in. It's kind of tough to copy somebody's.
It's really tough. Yeah, I don't know how close the matching is going to be, but as long as it's close, and you know what, we'll just weather it up.
Now, look, I tossed out this idea.
You did, yeah.
And you're not going to do it, and I think it's the right move to not do it. But it is an option, which is, I was saying to Adrian, I was saying, look, if you don't think you can match it exactly or close enough, can you do it totally different, but fits in with the army, right? So in this case, I was saying maybe do it the red color, do like an inverse, like the red you kind of know you can get.
Absolutely.
So does it make sense? And I think sometimes the answer to that question could be yes, right? Like,
I think absolutely the answer to the question could be yes. The main reason I'm not doing it here is because, as I mentioned, this is an army painted by 3 different artists, and I can tell you for a fact they weren't speaking to each other, like coordinating, because we all painted these at different times. And so this Ridgerunner is very much painted in sort of the GW style scheme, whereas some of the other stuff is painted differently. Like the neophytes have like kind of purplish skin, which ties into some of the other purple in the army. But then like the ones that you saw riding in this are this sort of yellow skin, which matches Jeff's Tyranids. And so, he was like kind of cool with this kind of eclectic mix. But you know, I did a couple of vehicles for this. I did actually an Astra Militarum detachment, and the vehicles all had yellow as the main paint. It was very, very chipped metal yellow. And so I was like, well, I haven't really been doing much red except for like these racing stripes here. So I'm like trying to keep it cohesive with a collection that actually, while not immediately apparent, is actually quite eclectic. So that's the reason I did it.
I think that's a good reason, as you're saying, not to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, if you purchase an eBay army and it's like gray and red is like the back. Red is like the accent color.
Yeah. I think it's great.
Certainly, you could be like, look, I don't know if I can get this exact gray.
Right.
But what I can do is come up with my own process and turn the accent color into the main color.
Absolutely.
And then maybe, not that you're turning the gray into the accent color, maybe you're using white or whatever, but working the gray in smaller areas.
Right. Well, then also, we're talking about 2 codexes that are not out yet, but will be out relatively soon. And as we mentioned, you don't always know what the rules for these things are. And something that's fun to do is, you do them in an inverse style or slightly different coloration for all these reasons, but also because it can be a way to differentiate some of your vehicles. So my buggies, I think my first 3 squig buggies were all different colors, which meant I could run them as one squad and it would be clear that they're together because they're one type of unit. Or if I wanted to run them separately, it was kind of clear that they were separate units because they were, colored differently. And as I grew the collection, then I started to almost make them more cohesive. I was like, okay, well, here's a second orange one, here's a second blue one. But at first, it was like almost definitively each one was different.
Right.
So I could kind of organize it, and the start of the game would be like, by the way, the blue one, this is my to the last.
I see, yeah.
Or the blue one, this devilfish has these guys in it. And so it's kind of a fun thing you can do.
Some armies, I think that works better. You play a lot of armies where that works well.
Yeah.
With T'au, I just pick a different number and put it on the front of the hammer.
Yeah, well, exactly, right?
Like, that's how they are. They're, like, not interested in being like, ooh, hey, guys, what color you want to paint your devilfish for the battle tomorrow?
Wow, it's kind of sad that they're not like that, I'll be honest.
Yeah, they're like, hey, here's your devilfish. It's green, because, the jungle's green. That's
right.
like how T'au did.
Well, then it's funny, too, because it's like, there's also that rule of, like, you want your army to pop off the terrain and off the the basing.
Right.
So you like almost want to inherently make them not camouflaged.
Right.
You know, you have a green army. Well, you better make sure
Right.
you're not in a green scenario, which, especially for the T'au, well, they would be green on a green kind of
Right.
background.
So actually, that's a great point, though. The way I don't have one of my T'au models that has a base here, I don't
Sure.
think. But the way I do that, I've chatted a little bit about that before, is when I paint those barbed bracken for the bases,
Yeah.
some of them I paint this color. My bases for my
Oh,
T'au are like
so it's
light,
very
medium,
subtle.
gray.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, like I want something to be the exact color. I just don't want everything to be that color because
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
then the model's lost. So I paint
Absolutely.
them in variations of this Cerebite green,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I put a couple of them on a base, you see suddenly, like, oh, that's what they're camouflaging for.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
They were somewhere where there's more of
I like
that,
that.
and now they're coming down the map. You know, for
More
my
subtle.
theme, for my theme, I kind of imagine what I call like high jungle. So
Mm-hmm.
like it's tropical, but it's mountainous.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
so that's like the Kroot are actually painted to match mist. So that's why they're like
I love
like
it.
that kind
That's
of
so
that
cool.
gray color. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very almost, well, no pun intended, but they're also almost very ethereal.
I see. Yeah.
All your Kroot are. I like them a
Yeah,
lot.
it's kind of
Coming out of the fog or something.
yeah,
right?
exactly. That's the look. So I'll show where I'm at now, and then we'll zoom over to Adrian
Sure.
to see him doing some airbrushing. But I'm now the decals. I have a lot of faith in the Microstyle and Microset, and so I actually do my decals right after airbrushing. As I begin to work after I'm done airbrushing, all my thought is to, while I sit here and handle this model, what can I screw up and rub off with my fingers? So I
Right,
don't
right.
edge highlight yet. I'm going to do that last. My first step is decals. They're glued on there at this point. They're gonna stay on. My second step now is recess washing. And you want to recess wash. This is a step that people leave out once they get airbrushing because they get
Right.
really airbrush magic happy.
Yeah.
And they're just like, cool, like this is ready to go. And you're kind of right. But recess washing is big. And I'll even just put these two guys here together. And I think you'll agree with me, folks at home, as you see the two. I might have to zoom out a little bit, but you can see the one that's finished. You can see how the dark recesses are really designed to sort of help things pop out. And that's the goal.
yeah,
It provides
absolutely.
contrast. So there's no recess washing as
Yep.
we spin around here.
And then you can see,
And then
it just
the
pops in so
panels
much.
are better defined
oh my
now
gosh, it's so much better.
with the recess washing.
And, and another thing about that is, you know, I, for a long time, was used to washing my entire model in whatever wash I was using, you know, Normal or Agrax, whatever.
Yeah.
But especially with these very smooth, flowy, airbrushed models, that it'll pool up, it'll make it look grungy in a way that you maybe necessarily don't want. But you still want to be able to create the contrast of a wash. And so that's where these targeted washes that just hit those recesses like that
Yeah.
can do the same thing without really messing up your nice, beautiful, smooth transitions from your airbrush.
Yeah, and then the final thing, when I do it on my T'au, I use the Citadel Dragali Purple.
Oh, nice.
And so purple over green is not like, purple over red is a normal thing. Purple over green, not really a normal thing. But for me, it adds to like the alien vibe of T'au.
Right.
And so I do this because, I don't know, the purple and green it's an odd combination. And it's not something you would normally do. And I'm thinking like, I don't know, their metal behaves in some kind of weird way, you know?
Yeah, I was wondering about this about T'au. Like, is their stuff metal? Is it like, it's not wraithbone, but I imagine it's like not
It's
metal?
like yeah, it actually is not metal.
Okay.
So when people do like the chipping and damage and paint like the little metal pieces underneath,
Right.
I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to look like. I'm not
Yeah.
saying I'm right. It's described, and boy, if Brett was here, he would probably know this better.
Yes, he
than me.
would. That's for
But
sure.
here's the thing: there's T'au fans in chat right now,
Top fans.
and T'au fans like know their T'au.
yeah.
More
More
than-
100%.
It's like it's a big thing. So I will say that I've understood it as more or less like it's like a fiber. It's very light. It's supposed to be lighter than like Imperial armor.
Yeah.
And you know, it's also, you know, when it's on a fireware, it's a 4-up, right?
Right.
So it's
Is it fiberglass? Is it
it's like a fiber
fiberglass?
I kind of understood it as like a fiberglass.
Yeah.
Like a type of like plastic heart, like
kayak material?
yeah, something like that. I'm not sure if that's right or not.
No, that sounds pretty close to what I imagined it was.
Yeah.
Like not organic, but certainly not metal in origin, right?
Right.
Although, you know, I was just talking with Brian about this the other day. You see that there's this one kind of icon or thing. Like, I guess in a way it's like these little nuggets right here.
That people paint metal.
They'll paint that, just that metal. And
Yeah.
it's the thing I see over and over again. And it's like people, again, not to just talk about Izzy, but even Izzy does that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
he's one of those people that I know if there wasn't a lore reason for doing that, then he wouldn't do it.
Listen,
it's
I
fascinating.
definitely feel like when I've been reading, like I've read the word alloy. I know Tauros, when they're on Tauros, doing all their stuff on Tauros, they're like getting metal is what they're after. So I'm sure they still use metal, and I might be wrong about like their larger vehicles compared to like just the armor on a Fire Warrior.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, how's this going?
It's good. I'm not feeling super positive about my color matching. This is the next sort of undercoat, so don't panic. I'm panicking, but you guys shouldn't panic.
They don't have to panic at all.
Don't panic at all. Like I'm suffering for your amusement here. And so this was a layer of Mechanicus Standard Gray, which is sort of like a mid-range gray. And I'm gonna try to highlight it in just a moment with Administratum Gray. And this is where I was the most unsure about this scheme. I was sitting in the game store, or standing, because sitting would be weird in the aisle.
I sit in the aisle sometimes.
Yeah, when you're just like really not sure.
Yeah, I like sit there and, or if I have to color match a mat,
Yeah.
I roll the mat out.
I love it. I love it. You know, we should do shopping together because I drive people crazy. Like, are you done yet? I'm like, I still have to figure it out.
I know.
Like, when we finish a tournament and I'm like potentially going to win prize support, people are just like, oh man, I'm going to be here for another hour as Adrian agonizes over what to buy. Like, that's me, right? So we should do some shopping. Anyways, this feels like it has a little bit of brown to it, but I'm gonna try with this Administratum Gray and carry on. And as far as kind of highlight points, I'm looking at this line straight across here. And what I'll do with vehicles often is I'll kind of, in a way, follow the aerodynamics of it. It sounds pretentious, but I swear it's not. It's almost like if you airbrush this thing straight from the front, where are the points you're gonna hit? And this is a cool way to kind of create motion. And you can imagine it's gonna kind of go like this, right? So I'm gonna hit it across here. I'm gonna kind of hit it along this middle ridge, and then kind of come up along the sides. And at that point, I'm gonna kind of break from that aerodynamic, add little spots right at the back, and then maybe just a line straight down the sides. Again, just because it looks cool.
Yeah.
Abandoning logic for the sake of style.
Good move, I think, always, like, thank you, Hamsterdam.
Heyo!
He's asking, how difficult is it to do camo on T'au? Is stencils the only option, or are there any other ways to give camo effects? So this is a good question. Stencils are a good option, of course, but there are a couple other ways.
Absolutely.
So one thing I did in the past is I took, this is kind of a stencil, but you don't actually have to, like, it's a little easier to work with.
I think I know what you're gonna say, yeah.
You can take painter's tape, and I did like jagged, I just that, and on the side here of the T'au, I did like these were off. These are now glued on here, but these are not naturally glued on. These were off, and I did like these tall grass blades in a few layers. And you can do that just with painter's tape, and you're pretty much just, if I'm going to borrow this for a second, you're pretty much just taking two pieces, and you're going like, well, here I can even show you on the vehicle. You're going to do like one like this, make sure it's on there good, and then you're going to take your second piece. This is specifically for like to make it look like they've painted like grass effect on there. Okay, and then you just kind of think about how thick you want it, but the ones that are further back, like your first layer, your deepest layer, you can be a little thicker. So then you take one and you just kind of go like that. And then I did an airbrush, believe it or not, back then when I did this. So then I just, I did like a real kind of smooth brushwork over there, let it dry, pulled these two up, and then there was like a blade of grass right there. And then I just did that all over the side in like 3 different colors, darker color in the back, getting a little bit lighter, occasionally kind of mixing one color up a little bit or one color back a little bit.
Yeah.
And I kind of made it look like just like blades of grass all over. That's one thing you could do. I guess in some ways that is still a stencil.
Yeah, but it's you don't have to go out and buy from a company and wait for them to come back. And I think you can carefully do it without an airbrush. You're gonna have to have, it's almost a dry brush technique, right? You don't want to have a lot of wetness where it's gonna seep into the under the tape and stuff like that. But if you're very light with it and methodical, I think you can totally do it with a brush. It's gonna take a bit longer.
Exactly. And like I said, I did it with a brush back when I did it. So that's one way. Amsterdam. Now, there could be some other things you could do as well. I think you could probably do some interesting stuff with like foam and sponges. With something like this, as I say all the time on the stream, you absolutely want to test this out. And look, this is a fun thing to test out. You're going to just, if it looks, here's the deal, if it looks good on paper, it's probably going to look still good on a 3D thing with camo.
Well, especially these big smooth surfaces.
Yes, exactly, like a T'au vehicle, right? And look, we know that because we see camo patterns all the time in our everyday life, not on their actual application.
No.
You know, we see them two-dimensional, and we know what two-dimensional camo looks like. So we know that then sometimes translates to real-world camo.
Right.
So please practice whatever you do. I would try some stuff out with sponges. I think you could do some interesting stuff with different layers of sponges. Frankly, this is going to sound crazy, but I would honestly watch some Bob Ross, and I would see how he puts foregrounds in particular, how he puts like shrubby foregrounds in, because he's starting always with a color you think's not going to make sense. It's very dark, or and then he builds it up that way, and he does a lot of that with like sponge kind of techniques. I think you could do that, but I would be careful overusing that. Frankly. Like I would do just a few areas, or have it make it look like it's creeping up or something.
Yeah. You actually tied in Bob Ross. I like that. That was good.
Yeah, I mean you can learn kind of a lot with like something like that where you're because with camo, one approach is to actually build dimension, and that is to some degree what camo is supposed to.
You can, yeah. It's just very tough, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like with painting, there's always this danger of doing a million steps, and well, 3 steps would have been basically the same.
Yes.
Not to say that's always true, but I think often, if you're an amateur like me,
well,
it's like, the first 5-7 steps just got covered up.
Yeah, I think you do learn, especially when you paint a lot of points of an army, right? I have somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000 points of this T'au army, and you start to, and I've repainted it a few times. This model was actually in simple green this morning.
Yeah, it was. It's true.
So you kind of start to learn, like, hey, does that step matter? Because I feel like maybe I'm not getting like a lot of value out of that step.
Yeah.
And when you army paint, these are conversations Kat and I have a lot, right? When you army paint, you're saying to yourself like, well, that step adds a really small degree of value.
Right.
But am I prepared to do that for the next 18 months over and over again? And look, I just did it on a tank. Am I prepared to do that on 40 infantry guys? Nope. Am I prepared to do that on 80 infantry guys, right?
You have to ask that self question. And you have to decide what do you find enjoyable about it? And your answer definitely could be yes. Like, I love this, I want to do more of this, and kudos to you, and I think that's great. But just kind of be wary so you don't get yourself in the hobby slump.
If you want to do that, I'm gonna make a pitch for a game that's not 40K. It's going to be Age of Sigmar, because Age of Sigmar consistently provides almost every army with this centerpiece where you can go a little further and not have it stand out in a weird way.
Totally.
Let's say that your centerpiece was you're playing T'au, and your centerpiece was a Storm Surge.
Sure.
And on your Storm Surge, you
so cool.
you went extra far. You did multiple more layers of layering and airbrushing and all kinds of extra stuff. Now your Storm Surge is standing right there next to your Riptide. And suddenly we go, oh, he put a lot more work into it, right? Because they should look the same.
Yeah.
Right?
They should be done at the same level.
Same with Tyranid, same with most 40K armies, quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you can make an exception, maybe like Mortarion and Death Guard, or maybe Magnus and Thousand Suns.
Sure, yeah.
But again, those two models that's a very AOS-y feel.
Yeah,
when you like put one of those
There's very few armies that have a true centerpiece in 40K.
Right.
There's a lot of big things. Whereas AOS, it's like, this is the centerpiece, your army will also play around it. It's not like, well, I have this guy, but I also have these 3 other guys that are like, just one like peg below them,
Exactly.
Right?
Like, if you have Archaon in a Slaves of Darkness army, they can all be painted red and black or whatever you want, and then he can just be his own thing. You base him the same, and he's going to look amazing, and you could have taken that opportunity to really, like, bring him out,
Absolutely.
right?
Zach, it doesn't match.
So, I think...
how does this have so much brown in it? But when I look close, it's not brown.
Let's zoom in.
It's like a tree. Let's see. So look at this. There's so much glare. So you guys can see that. It's like gray, but not gray. And this one's like definitely gray.
It's got like a little bit of cool gray vibe going on.
Yeah, this is a cool gray, and this is like a warmish gray.
Yeah.
Like,
So the color, I'm wondering if the color is, I don't know if he used, we don't know what he used, and we're just kind of trying to match.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe Citadel. The other, or not Citadel, if you use Citadel, maybe Skaven Blight Dinge. Okay. I do also have Dawnstone.
Oh, you know what? I also, can I see the Dawnstone?
Yeah.
Because I did pick it up in the store, and I was like, no, I think it's gray.
Do I have Dawnstone here? Yes? No?
No?
Yes. Do you have it, you said?
No, I was just...
Oh, you picked it up in the store.
I picked it up in the store, and I
put it back down. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
It is here somewhere.
Okay.
Let me look for it here for a second.
Yeah, no worries.
So, yeah.
I'm just digging around.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on in chat.
Oh yeah, maybe there is a super chat also to read.
For sure.
What did I do with my Dawnstone?
All right. Yes, we do indeed have some super chats. Let's see what's going on. How you guys doing? Having a good night? Happy Tanksgiving. HQs get the best treatment, naturally, obviously. All right. Thank you, Matt Baker. Thoughts on T'au feet? I want to paint my Fire Warriors' lower legs as flesh and Pathfinders with the weird compression socks. Would this look bad/weird?
He wants to do, sorry, what is that?
So the Fire Warriors' lower legs is flesh, but the Pathfinders with the weird compression socks. So is doing both of these kind of in different ways bad? No, I don't think that's intrinsically bad. I think the flesh Fire Warriors, I have to see. Flesh, when you make things kind of flesh tone, like a human skin of any kind of variety, it can sometimes be disturbing to people. So that's the only thing I would check. As far as like having them one in that style and some of them kind of wearing socks and stuff like that, I think that's totally fine. I have no problem with that, and I think it's something that kind of speaks for itself, you know. But they would be blue, so I think that's fine then, actually. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, they're not going to be pink or anything. So I have no problem with it.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you, Matt. I don't love it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it done before. I feel like, let's talk about lore versus what looks good.
Yeah. Do they wear socks?
They have, like, it looks like they have like leggings on. Mm-hmm. And then probably like a kind of pair of like baggier pants on.
Sure. And
then armor that's like attached to that baggier pants. The T'au lower parts of their T'au are, if you go back and kind of read, the design aesthetic was, they were designed to look like the terracotta warriors of China.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's the design aesthetic of T'au. So I would find, not Dawnstone. I think it's Skaven Blight Dinge.
It's like a khaki almost khaki.
Well,
look at it closely.
Look behind you.
Yeah, I'm gonna dig around.
Yeah, we have a lot of grays and a lot of browns. There's a lot of browns from like all my Beast Claw stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm zooming in here. But the other thing you could try, Adrian, is you could try
just doing it red.
No.
You're coming back.
First of all, I would say you could try not worrying about it. That's not helpful.
How about you try just not stripping?
Have you seen? Ooh. Oh my God! Have you guys seen? There's this like a meme with Pomone and
you mean Timon and Pumbaa?
Timon and Pumbaa and the lion. You know, what's his name? What's the lion's name? The main character. Well, I can't remember any.
Well, you're making me forget them because you're forgetting them.
Because I'm forgetting.
Simba.
Simba is like, oh, my dad killed my.
Oh, right.
My dad. My uncle killed my dad and
Spoiler.
is trying to kill me too. And Timon and Pumbaa are like, oh, hey, have you considered just not worrying about it?
Just don't care, bro.
Yeah. Have you thought about that? So you could Hakuna Matata this.
I might have to Hakuna Matata.
Here's the other thing I think you could do right now without having to go back and change anything you've already done.
Yeah.
I think you could hit it with, you could do that and you wouldn't have to change anything.
Just don't care.
I feel like...
Just quit Warhammer right now.
I quit. You just quit on stream.
Just quit on stream. Everyone's really not okay with this.
I think you could hit it with, this is going to be a little scary, but I think it'll work.
Oh, God.
I would start really diluted, but what I would potentially try is taking, I think, Sepia or Agrax.
A wash?
And I would run through the airbrush, and I would start like 1 part to 4 parts, and just go over it and just see.
That sounds scary. Because it's almost certainly not what he did.
It's almost certainly not what he did, but I think it'll work.
Yeah.
But I do understand that's a little scary.
I'll take it under advisement. I think first I'm going to try some Bane Blade Brown. Which, when you said Dawnstone,
yeah, that's what you were picturing. Bane
I
Blade?
was actually picturing Bane Blade Brown.
Okay,
This is actually the paint I picked up.
Well, there you go.
And then you're handing me another gray, and I was like, oh, this is not it.
The big one that the big one that I think that he. Sorry, distracted there. Melody, just FYI, I did see your modness got approved in Discord, so I just gave you a wrench here.
Oh, dang.
So you should be wrench happy.
Congrats.
You should be. You can kick people out now.
Ridgerunner.
Whoever you want, Melody. Just don't abuse your power, right?
Yeah. Remember Uncle Ben?
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is I think Skaven Blight Dinge might be really the one.
Okay. Yeah.
That's kind of what that.
It's kind of a brownish gray.
Yeah.
Grayish brown.
But Matt, back to your point, your question. I don't love it. Again, I would try it on a test model. I think I would think it. I think the look would be, So you're saying you're gonna get to see their blue legs under their knees. I'm thinking, because that's where their pants end, and then what you're talking about is like the compression sock kind of look. You're gonna, instead of painting the compression sock as like a legging or a compression sock or whatever, you're gonna paint it as T'au skin. And you're right, there's a kind of a reason to do that, because then that leg goes down into their hooves. And then you have this other question where you're kind of saying, well, now what do I do with the hoof? Is the hoof also in the stocking kind of leg thing, or is the hoof on its own? I frankly paint all of that black, and mostly black, and then like highlight it up a little bit with like Corvus black. If I'm honest with you, Matt, it's a part of the T'au I don't want to draw a lot of attention to. It's a part of the Fire Warrior and the Pathfinder kit I just don't want to draw a lot of attention to.
That they're like cow people? Manatee people?
No, it's not even that. It's
very
just,
close-minded of you.
No, it's just because I
just don't want to talk about it.
No, I just think it's like not a part that I want to draw any attention to in the model.
Fascinating.
I want the attention on a T'au Fire Warrior to go to the gun he has, that's as tall as he is.
You know they're more than their gun, Zach.
And not really. And then his helmet, right?
Yeah.
I don't want any attention. I don't want to see like something different going on down there. Mm-hmm. So
You're like, sorry.
I know. It could be.
You're like, whoa, what's going on down there? We got some hoofs.
Yeah,
that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's not even actually specifically the hooves. It is just sort of like the legging part of the pants. Also, like the armor. That terracotta warrior armor that they have on their thighs is super cool, so I want to bring that out. I don't want that terracotta thigh armor that they have competing with what's going on below the knee, so to speak. But Matt, try it. That's just kind of my instinct. Could be super cool.
It's a valid point.
Thanks again, Ozmaka. Zach, what size brushes are you using for the black lining? P.S. Love your work, mate. Thanks. So this is actually a super tiny little brush, 10/0 from Rosemary and Company Pure Sable. It is a brush that Brett left here, and he is on vacation, and I'm using it. And
Come get it, Brett.
Oz, I would say two things. You do want a thin brush, and you really don't need the brush to be super tiny. This one's almost too tiny for what I'm doing. It's almost too small, but you just want the point to be perfect.
Yeah.
This is people call this pin washing. I call it pin washing or recess washing. And I will say that when you recess wash, when you pin wash, you want that. I think that's why they call it pin washing, because you want the brush to come to like a pin,
right?
A needle pin. And so it doesn't really matter if it's a long or bigger brush. If like here, I'll do a little top producer here. Hold these two up. This is the one I'm using. This one's way bigger, way longer. But look, if I can get this brush to come to a pristine point, I'd pin wash with that.
For me, this was a really, really important point, and it took me a long time to learn this, because I was always like, I need smaller brushes, blah, blah, blah. And then I watched a mini-app video talk about this exact concept. And it's like, well, the thing is with these bigger brushes, you have more bristles, and so they're much less prone to wear and tear, but they can still come to the same sharp point.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's almost like you don't want the smallest brush you can find. And I tried kind of doing the same thing, what you're saying now, and it was absolutely night and day. I was like, wow, I was literally looking for the wrong brushes all along.
Yep.
And it's much more forgiving if it's not like the highest end brush too.
Yeah.
If you have a very tiny brush with very few bristles, it's got to be really nice. Otherwise, it's going to wear out fast, and you're just going to be scraggly, and that's going to be worse than not accurate. So
yeah,
it's an important concept.
I don't have a lot of brushes where I'm like, oh, let me go grab my pin wash brush. What I typically do is once I get to that stage, I go through my brushes, I look at them, I say this one looks like it's ready to do some pin washing. Oh, this one is not ready to pin wash. In fact, this one is quite messed up and is ready to be turned into a dry brush, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's kind of how I go through it. And then, you know, when I'm at the game store every now and then online, I just do an order of a bunch of different types or grab a few every now and then when I go to the game store. And I'm just like, oh, in general, I buy a lot of mid-level brushes that are mid-level in size.
Absolutely.
That's what like 90% of my brush buying is centered around those types of brushes.
100%.
All right, how's it going? How are
it's
you?
good.
Are you making peace with this?
I'm making peace with it. I'm actually much happier. It's much closer. I think it's very likely that Bane Blade Brown actually was the base coat of this.
Oh, I think so. Oh, that's quite good.
Look how much better
that
it
is. Quite good.
So here you go, guys.
Yeah,
you can see it's
here.
much closer.
Yeah, quite good.
So I'm going to bring in just a little bit of a kind of a darker brown in the not recesses, but in the shadows here, and then we're going to keep going with our lives, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, that looks great.
So I'm content again. I've calmed down.
And again, like here's the other thing, like it's going to start looking more, it's going to start matching more and more as Adrian does other things that Israel's done, right? Even with something as stupid as the tires, when we see the tires are black.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, cool, we both have black tires, right?
Oh,
like,
look!
Even that's going to start to help. The copper part on the top, that copper lid thing, every step he does. And so that at the end, if we're like, hey, look, the main paint color, not quite exactly the same, it's not going to matter. Those other things are going to really help tie it in.
Absolutely.
And I tell this to people, saying this to people in chat, people watching right now, to say that I think we overthink things sometimes.
Oh, I think 100%. We definitely overthink things, and we want it to be perfect. And it's, don't overthink it. And another thing that you say a lot, which is trust the process.
Yeah.
Right? It's this is very true if you've done traditional painting. It looks terrible for the first hours, if I'm honest, and then you just have faith in it and you work on it, and it comes out in the end. So I think that's pretty important. I'm honestly almost done with I'm pretty much done with my airbrushing step.
Great.
So I'm ready to move on to some hand brushing. I might come back and do some of that sepia later on, but we're gonna keep going for now as it is. So you know what? Let's do some more paint reveals because everyone likes a good paint reveal.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go ahead and take these off.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, smexy. I love it.
Yes.
And what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually go ahead and use my teaching pointer.
Yes.
Zach. And I'm gonna actually recreate some scratches, kind of blending these because you can see it's too perfect. This is not a GSC vehicle, so we're gonna kind of clean that up. And then this one is a bit tougher because it actually goes underneath the handle. So we're just gonna just a little bit at the corner, and then we can peel it off. Oh yeah, beautiful stripe. And these nice little racing stripe on the side.
Oh wait, your head is blocking the reveal.
Sorry. Like I can see it really nicely, guys, with my head right up in here. Let me tell you.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Yeah, look at that.
They're beautiful. I'm gonna leave these because I actually need to do the black paneling here. So we'll get to that later. We'll save some reveals for you guys.
Yeah. I like it. Okay, speaking of, well, actually, let's take another super chat here. Thank you, Chris. Chris says, "Hey guys, just starting using contrast paints, loving them so far. Just curious, can they be used effectively through an airbrush?" He's got effectively in parentheses.
Oh, I like that. I appreciate that.
So here's what I will say, Chris. What I have shot through an airbrush is I have shot through both the Nighthaunt Gloom and the Hex Wraith, and I've been told, and I think it seems to be the case, that those two are like early predecessors to airbrushing. To contrast.
Right.
Or they're kind of billed as a technical paint.
Yeah.
But what I actually think we can do on air right now is just test this.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because I know I have one contrast paint. I have not used a lot of the contrast paints, if I'm honest. but I did use it on my Zangors because I like the way it kind of attaches to their spines. So you just get a little bit on your brush and you touch the Zangor. They have like these spines. You just touch the spine and the contrast paint just goes whoop, right.
It's so good for
around
organic things and Sigmar models in general because they're more organic.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a look, but I can tell you also that you absolutely can.
Oh, you know. Why am I
yeah.
doing this?
No, let's look.
I mean, listen,
you
here's
have
the
to use
deal.
it on case-per-case basis too, right?
I mean...
Contrast paint is just an amazing wash, and you should use it as such.
Okay. It's like a stickier, I think of it as like a stickier wash.
But it is a wash.
Yeah,
it's not like, this is my contrast paint, and this is where I live now forever.
Right, now here's actually how I want to answer Chris's question.
Okay.
I want to answer his question by saying, like, yes, we know it can, and you could have some effects, but
should
why
you?
would you?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you? And, like, should you? Probably. There's probably some applications for it.
Yeah.
But why would you do it? One thing I'm thinking right away that where I would use it is weathering terrain with like a green or a brown.
Yeah.
I think I can imagine it being, this is through a Sotar, by the way, so if it's going to go through this, it's going to go through anything.
This is basically just a garden hose.
No, this is the tiny airbrush.
Right? Oh, the tiny airbrush.
Yeah, not the Patriot. Yeah, it looks great. I'm just doing it on paper here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like I'd be interested in how it's nice, like how much you can layer it.
Right, because it's going to pool differently. Whenever you put a wash through an airbrush, it pools differently. This is where if you want to basically tint something, airbrush is the way to go because it's gonna have it pool differently. It's gonna be thinner, and it's the same thing for contrast.
Yeah, I haven't used them a lot, but what I have used of them, I do like them.
Yes.
And frankly, I am a little more interested, as Chris is suggesting here, in using them through airbrushing.
Yes.
And I just need the right project to come along. I may try to use these a little bit more and get creative with some of the snake parts of my Daughters of Cain.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they look so good on them. Oh
yeah.
my god.
So we'll see. Chris, my recommendation, looking at how they worked right here and what I've seen from the Hex Flame and the Gloom, I would try it on something kind of low stakes first, like terrain.
Yeah, give it a try first.
But some browns and greens on terrain, kind of like layered up to get like, what are you looking for?
Water cup?
Brush? Oh, yeah. Let's just add some water to that cup.
Wunderbar. Oh, yeah, some nice tea.
Yeah, it's not really tea.
Gold Peak. Genuine tea.
Yeah.
We're gonna get
We're
gonna get in trouble for that.
Yeah, really?
No, I'm joking.
Gold Peak wants nothing to do with us.
They're like, please don't use it to wash your brushes in. Work out for them, actually.
So, okay, great. Well, listen, we do have something else we want to talk about. We decided that we would do a top 5 like we've been doing recently.
Oh, yes.
And we decided we needed to do our top 5 favorite tanks for Tanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
So let's do these. I think I have them in the right order. Adrian, we're going to have you go first.
Okay, sounds good.
You ready?
Let's do
Here
it.
we go. So here are
It's on.
Adrian's top 5.
Look at my face is on my face.
Look. Oh, yeah, it's like perfect. Like, look at all your hair. There we go. Okay. Anyway, here are Adrian's top 5 40K tanks. Adrian, talk us through these.
Yeah, so these are my top 5 tanks in no particular order, but we will talk about them. We'll just kind of go through. So number 1, the Orc Bone Breaker. This is, of course...
I actually don't know what this is.
This is a more recent addition. This is the name for the melee battle wagon. Of course, all battle wagons can have the roller, the death roller on the front of it. Right. But the Bone Breaker is the model that's specifically about that. Okay. And this is a model that's near and dear to my heart. Of course, the current battle wagon kit has been around for a number of years. And when it came out, shortly after they released a expansion pack for it. An add-on that included things like the Zap Gun, a couple of turrets.
Which is a little unusual and something I kind of wish they would do more.
It's very strange. Now it comes in the kit, I think, but I haven't had to buy a battle wagon for a long time. And it came with the Death Roller, this awesome giant rolly thing, and just have fond memories of every edition. You know, back when Tank Shock was a thing.
Yeah.
I played against my brother, and basically Tank Shock was like, a tank could try to run over you. And
it didn't work very well, but this made it work better,
It made it work because the way it worked is if you failed, when a tank charges you with this Tank Shock ability, you take a leadership check, and if you fail it, you just move out of the way. If you pass it, you were brave, you get to stand stoic and chuck a grenade. You get one shot.
Right.
And even if it doesn't kill it, actually doesn't really do anything. the death roll meant that if you passed your leadership and stuck around to fight, you would basically die. You just get run over. And so this meant that if you were an army like Tyranids that auto-passed everything, it would just like, there was no way they were going to kill it with their basically Overwatch, and then you just run them over and mow them down. So my brother has nightmares of this thing.
Yeah.
And it just continues to be amazing and awesome. That's the Bone Breaker.
So Bone Breaker, okay.
Yes.
Another Orc one here, it's your second favorite one.
This is another one. Orc Battle Fortress. This is the model you can't get anymore. This is the Forge World Orc Battle Fortress. It's a super heavy tank that's, it's massive. It's got the 2 giant turrets on top. Also has a death roll.
Okay.
I love this model, and it's one of my biggest regrets that I don't have one.
Oh, no.
Because it went out of production. Yeah, so amazing, cool, iconic model that I've always wanted since I was a kid. And it's just amazing. So I had to include that because it's always been like, one of those models that I wanted to get.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, now you had this next one is a great one.
Yeah. I like how you fixed my Eldar.
I did, and I was going to talk about that.
Yeah,
so,
you want to talk about it?
We should talk about this. For the first time, so this is something we know they're going to do, and actually I've got a good friend visiting who knows a little bit about the lore. He doesn't play, and he was asking, is Craft World and Sciony, is this like, what is going on with these names?
What's going on?
And like as like gamers, we all keep saying Eldar and Craft World Eldar and stuff. GW's weaning us off of that.
They're trying to.
None of the new Aeronautica releases called them this at all. It all is Sciony
of course,
everywhere.
Yeah.
We know when the Codex comes out, it's going to say Sciony.
Buy into the system.
Yeah, it's not going. They're not going to keep calling them this. We know Eldar is not like a copyrightable thing. They don't want to interact with that, right?
Imperial Guard for life, man.
Yeah. So just can't beat them, join them. I say. Wow. I think that Sciony sounds cooler anyway.
Yeah, it certainly sounds more copyrightable.
Yeah, and cool. Look, like Craft World Eldar, that's like, I don't know.
Well, I personally find that term offensive.
I'm imagining now it's offensive.
It is offensive to me because I, at my heart, honestly, and my true Craft World is Biel-Tan, who, spoiler, has no Craft World anymore.
Oh,
so, what is this labeling of our people? We don't even have a Craft World. It's messed up, man.
So,
anyway. You know what? You convinced me, and I convinced myself. I'm on board for this. We're gonna get rid of this offensive term.
Yeah, I like a Sciony. I mean, that's what they call themselves. And
I'm sure they call themselves something that we can't even pronounce.
Well, okay, fine, but like that's what we should call them, according to them, I guess. And by them, I mean Games Workshop.
Games Workshop.
Okay, so anyway, what is this thing? The Sciony Lynx.
Lynx is an awesome, again, Forge World tank. That is also a model that I wanted for a long, long time. Beautiful. It's not super heavy. It's just a heavy with a giant gun on it, and it's just like everything that's great about Eldar tanks. Like, it's sleek, it's sexy, it's got amazing like curves, and it's just an awesome, cool tank. And of course, always has that hipster factor of being Forge World. So I also had this sort of nostalgia.
Is this one of the extra big ones? Yes.
No, this is the one I have 3 of.
It's kind of long, right?
It's long. It's like, again, it's not super heavy size. It's not the
Cobra,
the Scorpion, or the Cobra,
okay.
which I also want to get. But it's like the middle one, basically. It's bigger than a Fire Prism, smaller than those.
Got it. Okay.
So beautiful model.
Yeah, these are great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we've got Dragali.
Oh my gosh, the Tantalus, the party boat.
So this is another one where I think if someone was like saying, "Hey, look, Adrian, I'm not sure it's a tank."
Oh, really?
But I mean, I'm okay with it.
But you think that the Lynx is a tank?
The Lynx, I think, is a tank.
Fascinating.
I'm not sure that I would say that the Tantalus is not really a tank. It's a barge, right?
It's a barge. If they had the barge keyword, just like the way they have the wagon keyword.
Oh yeah, the wagon keyword.
Yeah. See, here's the thing.
But that's okay. Well, what do you love about the Tantalus?
I think you're taking a very Imperial-centric view.
I guess that's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. Look, I love the Tantalus. Again, I didn't realize I put 3 Forge World in this, but whatever.
I think I have. Well,
it's
maybe
just
2,
like
maybe 2.
These are the iconic models that you kind of came up in the hobby looking at it and admiring, and maybe one day you own one, and it's just like a dream come true. So the Tantalus, beautiful, gorgeous, giant model, just awesome. I don't know what to say. I just love it. The giant sails. I got this last Christmas, actually, finally.
Oh, cool.
So love this model.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like a double, right? It's like a double barge.
It's like a double. It's like a big double like catamaran, basically.
It is okay. It is. Yeah, it is the double one, right?
It is the double one. It's like 2 raiders attached together, and then they just decide to have like a big party on top.
They're also a little. Are they not also like a little longer, or maybe?
Oh yeah, it's definitely longer, and it has these giant prows, which they use to run into people.
Sure.
And you can hold like
As one does with a giant
party bus.
Yeah,
when people are probably being irresponsible.
Yeah, you just run into them.
Absolutely. So
Okay.
that's my number 4.
Last but not least,
Look.
maybe least, I don't know.
No,
I shouldn't presume.
It's not least for sure. I don't know which one. I don't know the true ranking.
We
of
never
these.
rank these. We can't.
That would have been too much pressure.
Yeah.
I think I would have just sent you an empty list if you asked me to do that. The Exorcist. Oh my gosh. A little typo again. My bad.
Is that your bet?
Or it's probably your bad, but I'm apologizing for you. It's sororitas.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
There's actually several letters
Oh,
that are wrong. The solar rites. Anyways, The Exorcist, giant, awesome church organ. It's gothic, it's beautiful, it's silly, it's everything that I love about Warhammer. And it's amazing, I think. That and the emulator gives it a run for its money, but I got to go with Exorcist, man. Just
okay.
Beautiful, beautiful ship.
Yeah,
so.
the Sisters tanks are cool. The Sisters tanks are so cool, and I will say this about them: they are this look that makes me go, man, I would never ever play that army, but gosh, I'm so glad it's in the universe.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
It's just
100%.
like it is there, and that look and that Baroque. Like I love craziness and bright colors and stuff, but there's something, the Baroqueness of the Imperium is best captured, I think, by the Sisters.
Yes.
And it's so there, and it's so aggressive. I'm just like, not my thing.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm so glad it's
it
there.
exists.
You know what I mean? I'm
It's-
very glad. It exists.
Baroque is exactly the right word. It's so gaudy and like gorgeously decorated, over-decorated in a good way.
Folks, before we get to mine, I do want to show you guys what I've been up to here. I'm actually just taking some Citadel Air, and I'm just putting thin layers of black on places that I want to be black. Now, you'll notice most of the places that I'm painting that are going to be black, if you kind of compare these two Devilfish, these two vents, they were green from my airbrushing. I just painted them black.
Nice.
If you look at this guy over here, you'll see that I'm going to cover them in glow. Okay, same thing going up here. All the places, basically, that I just painted black, I'm going to put glow all over. So you're thinking, well, why even bother painting them black? Why not just leave them green? Well, I'll show you. I'll put my finished one back on the glam cam.
Yeah, please
and
do.
you guys are going to be able to see that it matters. If you can see that it is black underneath. And I'll tell you, this is a step I tried skipping. I tried saying, like, do I need to go back over the vents with black, or can I just leave them green? If you just leave them green, it doesn't look as good.
Right.
I want that vent to be black, and so I want the glow there to look like it's over top of black, not just over top of more green.
Yeah.
Even though it's totally covering that black. Like, you would not look at those vents and go, oh, those are black, right? But
Totally.
If you look closer, you can see the differentiation in color
Right.
from the glow on the green and the glow on the black, and it's an important step. Don't skip it.
I totally agree. Earlier I talked about extra steps or layers that like don't matter, don't seem like they matter. This is definitely one that does matter, and whether or not you think it shows up and it helps, it definitely does.
Yeah. Do it. Don't skip it.
Don't skip it
Yeah.
or leg day.
Okay. Here are Zach's top 5 40.
Oh yeah, let's do this thing.
So first I put the T'au Hammerhead. The T'au pretty much uses the same chassis on everything, and it's the chassis I'm doing here today. It's the same as the Devilfish.
Yeah.
I love this chassis. It's one of the things that got me into 40K. It's one of the things that made me pick T'au when I picked my first army.
Cool.
It's just like this fast looking, but also tanky and looks like you can load up guns on it, and I don't know. I just love the look of the T'au Hammerhead. I think the T'au aesthetic is really cool, and I think it comes out best frankly, in their vehicles.
Yeah.
Oddly, I think the place the T'au aesthetic is kind of least present is frankly like Crisis suits. It's frankly the suits, but it's almost because it's their own. It's almost a separate aesthetic.
Right.
But like the bulky kind of sweeps are present more in like the T'au Fire Warrior helmet and.
Yeah.
The Hammerhead and stuff. So,
well, the prow of this thing, right? The namesake of this Hammerhead is so iconic, and that's where it's like, if it wasn't for some of these curves, it would feel very Eldari. But this sort of branching out here, in it like what is almost like a clumsy but unique way. I don't know. There's something that to me is what distinguishes it from the Eldar, where it's like very sharp angles and everything here is kind of round and bulbous.
Right. There's no
but in a nice way.
The Eldar have these sweeps and then suddenly sharp cut, right? The T'au, it's always rounded everywhere.
It just keeps going.
Yeah. So the T'au Hammerhead for sure. All the T'au vehicles, super cool. I love them.
Great pick. Yeah.
Next is the Sciony Wave Serpent. Specifically, I picked the Wave Serpent because I love the spines off of the Wave Serpent. And look, I painted a Falcon and 3 Wave Serpents all at once.
Right.
And I mean, like, the Falcon's cool. And I have other ones. I'm the Fire Prism, and I have a Warp Hunter, which is so cool. It's just the giant gun.
That one's super cool.
But the spines on a Wave Serpent just make it such a big deal.
Yeah.
You go in, like, in my case, I painted those spines bone, so they're like this different kind of color, and they're perfectly there to just accent some different color. By the way, if you're thinking about painting a Wave Serpent, those and you are airbrushing, those spines are very separate. I just painted them 100% and then glued them. It was like one of the last things I did. So they're very easy to paint a different color. A lot of people don't do that. I think you should. And I think it's one of my favorite things about the Wave Serpent.
More of a statement.
Yeah. So I love it for those spines. Okay, my next 3, believe it or not, are actually Imperial vehicles.
Whoa!
I own multiples of the first 2. I own none of any of these, but I do love them. I don't ever even need to own many of them.
Sure.
With the exception of number 5, which we'll get to in a second.
Oh,
okay, number 3,
geez.
Primaris Impulsor.
This is a great model.
I think the new Primaris line is just, I think they just hit multiple grand slams here. I mean, they just really nailed it. The line is amazing. Look, I love the ATV. I know that's a hot take.
That's a very Zach take.
I love all of the new Primaris vehicles, and I think the Impulsor with like the El Camino, the flatbed
Such
in
a
the
good
back
vibe.
is kind of cool. I'm into it because we always joke about like, look, do Space Marines? What's with this Grey Knight getting an armor and then getting in more armor? And it's like, he doesn't need to do that. So it's sort of like, hey, look, do we need to have a we're in the world's strongest armor, the universe's strongest armor, like. We can have an open top.
If anything, the Rhino is like a death trap, right?
Exactly.
Like that's a place for someone to chuck a grenade in for it to just implode.
Exactly. So I love the Impulsor. I love the back being open like that. I love the new Space Marine vehicles. I one day at some point probably in my life I will do an Imperial Space Marine army.
Promise?
It's not in the next couple of years at least, but and it's quite frankly these vehicles especially. The Primaris Marines are great as well. The infantry, but the vehicles are just so cool. The Redemptor, the Invictus, all of them, such good models.
They're absolutely amazing.
In love with those. Okay, the Mastodon.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, the Mastodon is so cool.
So glad
I don't even know what to say about the Mastodon. Look, in 30K, I played a lot of 30K a few years back, and nobody even took a Mastodon in 30K. I don't know. I don't know if people just didn't.
No.
I think it's hard to get to work. I feel like I went to this thing, believe it or not, in 2018, I want to say, called Heresy Camp.
Okay.
In Corpus Christi, Texas. It was honestly just a big gathering of Heresy players.
Okay, so it was a Warhammer thing.
It was a Warhammer thing. Yeah. It was a Warhammer thing. And it was just a gathering of Heresy players. Of Horus Heresy players, and it wasn't specific. They didn't do any events. You just got together and like played pickup games the whole time.
Weird.
You couldn't even leave this camp. Oh my God!
What? Without winning a game?
No,
that's
like
crazy.
No, there's just like nowhere else to go. It wasn't like downtown. You could go like we all just stayed in this camp and played Horus Heresy. It was crazy, and I think I saw one there. I think I saw a Mastodon there. I think a Sons of Horus player had it.
Yeah. I'm still not sure. It was like.
Yeah, I see our buddy Bryce here saying there are a million points, and Bryce plays Sons of Horus, and I think that's the army I saw it with.
Oh, okay.
And
gorgeous.
Right, I know.
Oh my God.
I think like you just like load up. Like, okay, 800 points he's saying in Horus Heresy.
No problem.
I don't know if that's true or not.
I think in 40K
in Heresy. Okay, so then you're putting probably 400 points in it.
Yeah.
So what's left
in 40K,
for the battle? What's left?
Yeah, look, I have gone back and forth multiple times. I think I will get a Mastodon at one point, I'll tell you that.
Sure.
And it will be one of two things. It'll be one, fists, because obviously that's the most fisty vehicle.
Yeah, it's a great Imperial
It's a fortress you're taking with you.
Yeah.
Or, from a game perspective, Death Guard. And you fill it with like Plague Marines and stuff like that, that it's just like, here comes the Death Bus, and it opens up and they're just like, let's do it.
Death Guard,
you know what I'm
cool too. The problem is that Death Guard in 40K are just so, their aesthetic has just strayed awesomely,
Oh, yeah.
but so far from you know what they say, like, oh, you can take a Mastodon, it has the chaos key, where like it doesn't, like you'd have to do you'd have to do, I think, some serious work on it.
Have you seen my termite?
Which would be cool. Yeah, which could be cool, right? Like
that's the thing with chaos.
Yeah,
Like you have to step it up. You
yeah.
buy the kit, you're not done. You have to convert it immensely.
You've barely gotten started.
You barely started.
Yeah.
Before we continue real quick,
Yes.
do you have any Balthasar bronze around? I realize this is gold.
I may.
This could be gold. This could be like a pimped out one.
I may. Let me take a look. Let's take a look.
This top color, I'm like, it looks like gold, but the side paneling is definitely bronze. So I don't know if you ended up
I
using
think
true
I
color.
actually did buy this color recently.
Balthasar bronze. Oh, it's called Balthasar gold is what it is. But it's a bronze color.
Yeah, yeah.
Very misleading, James. But it's an awesome color.
Where did I put it? Where would it be?
Yeah, Bryce has a Spartan Land Raider, is what he's saying, for the Sons of Horus. That's a...
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay,
man.
okay.
That one I actually do have, I believe it's a Spartan, I do. It's an unbuilt Spartan for my fists for Horus Heresy. So, look, when and if we get back into that game, I'm ready. I'm ready for you.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation, right? It's
Horus Heresy.
Yeah, it's such a cool game. I don't know.
I need some update for it, basically.
Yeah, Adrian, you know what I think your best bet's going to be?
Yeah.
Is to look through our Reaper stuff.
Okay,
And
no
actually,
worries.
a lot of the Reaper metallics are up there.
Okay.
Also,
Yeah,
could be
you're
could
good.
be here. Could be here.
I came
wait,
totally
Actually, hold on. Wait,
prepared.
wait. I think I might see something.
I see Retributor.
Here it is. Here it is.
Oh,
Wait,
yes.
Is this it?
Is it?
Oh, this is Castellax. Castellax
like it's
bronze.
pretty close.
Yeah, that's Relicator. Yeah.
This is it's completely covered in overspray.
Yeah.
Cool. No worries. I can make this work. This is good. This is good. This is good. All right. It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay, we're close. So, okay, next, last but not least for me is the Saron Punisher. Speaking of Heresy, right as Heresy kind of ended, this was what I was about to pick up for my Thousand Sons. They have some weird kind of obsession with rotary cannons.
Yes.
The Thousand Sons are weird in Heresy. They're everything we know about them to be true, but then they have these like bizarre other themes like poison.
Poison?
Yeah, they have
Thousand Sun poison?
Yeah, they have this stuff called Asphyx, and basically what it does is just like prevent you from, it asphyxiates you.
What?
Yeah, so that's like what all their Terminators have, the special ammunition. Yeah, right? It's weird.
I had no idea.
There's a lot of that in Heresy, where
What
it's
the
like,
heck?
this is what you thought you knew about this chapter, but then they have like this one other weird...
So basically, you have a really good PR campaign to hide all the war crimes from the Horus Heresy.
Pretty much, yeah. So
Jesus.
they had that, and then they also have these, like, we do still see they have the modern Thousand Sons have the Soul Reaper cannon.
Yes, naturally.
But they
do love-
specifically,
yeah.
in the Inferno book, they specifically talk about how, like, they like these 9-barreled, which I guess the Sakaran is supposed to have or something, these rotary cannon
That's so
weapons.
cool.
So,
Oh my God.
all the Sakarans are really cool, but the Sakaran
Punisher?
I think that gun
Yeah.
just is so striking. Just a really everyone loves a good rotary cannon, right?
Everyone loves a good rotary cannon.
All right, folks, so let me hop back in here and kind of show you what I'm up to next. Believe it or not, I'm so close to being finished this. This is one of the things I did with my T'au paint scheme, is I made a paint scheme that I could do fast. And, we were talking about how long it would take me to paint a Devilfish on air. And because I have not painted a T'au model in this calendar year, but I've done enough of this paint scheme and and I've painted enough T'au vehicles to know like it's not going to take me long. I've been gabbing a lot too, and I'm actually almost done.
That's
so
great.
No rush, but
No, that's good.
I can also do the other decals. I pulled them out here just in case we needed them. So, and the drones are done too. Frankly, the drones are one of the things that normally take the longest.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
They have more going. They're tinier. They have more going on. The
Yeah.
drones also don't take that long.
Drones they're pretty busy. They got a lot going on.
Yeah. So you gotta do the 4 lenses and stuff. So I have. I'm gonna do the glow effect now. I do the glow effect before I do edge highlighting. You don't think you have to do it that way, but that's why I do it.
Yeah. No, that's interesting.
I have a couple other things to do as well on this guy, including well, maybe I don't. Actually,
I think I'm done.
Actually, no, maybe I don't. I'm trying. Oh, there's a couple spots where I'm going to put some lenses, but not many. So yeah,
great.
pretty close to
No
being
worries.
done here.
I'm cruising along actually now. There's not too much more. It looks so much lighter. I do have weathering to do, of course, which is the most fun part. But you can see, it just looks like a cleaner, younger version. You know. So really coming together. I might end up bringing in a bit of this gold to just brighten this up. But generally speaking, the other parts where this bronze is actually very, very close. And so yeah, we'll get all the silvers and stuff will need some washes. When I do my silver, I'm actually very unparticular about what silver I use because I'll often wash it all down to a certain sort of darker tone regardless. So I can start super bright, I don't really care. But yeah, so we're basically almost done with the base layers, and then we just have some chipping to do, and maybe some sepia.
Yeah,
that'll be it.
I think it's gonna look good. I like this color scheme.
I actually really like it. I kind of wish I had more on the style.
Thank you, Omnisci Sphinx.
Hey-o.
Hey Titans. Am looking for he has some indecision for a second army. Currently looks like he has Iron Hands. I've listened to some novels for T'au and Necrons, and they are not grabbing me. Well, definitely, right? Don't do those then. I think that's a good first litmus test.
Agreed.
I can't, I don't know if I should rebuy some of my older army. The armies I'm guessing on the side, these armies you used to have and kind of don't have anymore, maybe when you're younger, such as Chaos, Adeptus, specifically he's referring to Heretic Astartes.
Yeah.
It says Chaos SN, Chaos Space Marines.
Totally.
We're using all the proper names these days, right? So Heretic Astartes.
Right. Yeah.
Wolves, or Astra Militarum. Okay, well, look, here, I'll give you Omnissiah. This is when I think about what would make me pick a new army. I always kind of go through three things.
Yeah, okay. This is a good metric.
Okay, I take three things into fact. Because I like to play, I like lore, and I like to paint.
Sure.
Right? So I run those kind of three things by. And the very first one for me almost always is, for me, honestly, is lore. Like, if I just don't like the army, then, or I don't think that army is something that kind of would represent my personality, then I don't want to play it. I don't play a lot of Imperial armies because I think that they're kind of like, I don't know, kind of environment that they have, the harshness of it, you know, you work and then you die, and you know, if you're a guardsman, you're just running out there to die, and if you're a Space Marine, I'm not like a particularly, I don't think everyone who plays Space Marines is like necessarily like a religious person, but I'm not. But like the warrior monk thing is cool, but totally. Again, I like, just like I was saying about the sisters, I love the line, but I'm glad I'm not playing it, but I'm glad it's there.
Correct.
Right. So for me, I tend to like aliens, and I tend to like good guys. Yeah. So that's why my two big armies are T'au and Sciony.
Yeah.
Right. And then I've been paying up Thousand Suns because they're a tragic character, and I love a good tragic character as well.
There's a bunch of scholars, man.
Yeah. So those three armies appeal to me, and on the lore level, I don't know that any other 40k army appeals to me that deeply on the lore level.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would have to then be going to the next level, which is paint.
Okay.
What looks to me like a fun paint project. And when you look at the different armies, I right away I'm kind of like, honestly, what looks to me like a fun paint project, but I could also see being okay with the lore in. For me, that would add like Tyranids and Necrons. They look kind of cool to paint. They're aliens still, so there's that. But Omnissiah, you're going to order these three how you're going to order them. For me, it goes kind of lore, then paint project. Playstyle I put last, not because I don't care about the playstyle, but quite frankly, I think that most modern 40k armies have lots of playstyles, depending on what you buy. Frankly, the playstyles change. We're now seeing these releases of like little pocketed releases. We see that in AOS where it's like, we were just talking about this, like, here are the Cruel Boys, here's this release.
The
like
Crabmen,
Right, like, the Crabmen. You see these releases and they say like, here's this whole wing of this army that's just designed to go a little faster or be a little stealthier or whatever. So when it comes to playstyle, I'm almost kind of like, I think the playstyle will come. Either I'll meet the playstyle, or the playstyle will meet me, or you have enough points of an army, you can, like with my Sciony, I haven't done any of the race stuff yet, other than the ones I did on Aerith Cat.
Sure.
But look, if I paint up all my Wraith stuff and run them as Simhan, they're still good as Simhan. Totally. They don't have to be Ianded.
Fast boy race.
You still want to reroll charges, right? Like, so I'm like, in this way, I'm like, look, if I could just run an all Wraith army, it's going to be a little slower, but it's going to be a totally different play style than if I'm using. So That's kind of how I do it on the Messiah, and then I would say run that through and just make a list and do like a who fits in my first, like what do I care about the most? Maybe you care about painting the most. What looks like the most fun paint project? List them out. Then say, okay, of this, what's the play style I like, right?
Yeah.
Or what's the play style I'm interested in? Maybe not even that you
can
like.
do it that
right?
way too. Yeah, 100%.
My Beast Claw Raiders is not a Zach play style.
No.
Traditionally, but I was like, listen. I have played my Megan's Tyranids multiple times.
Sure.
And just like running at people and not caring what happens,
fun.
you see why Bridger's into it.
Oh, for sure.
You just show up and do it, and you're like, cool. And if you win, you're like, oh, I won. And if you lost, you're like, well, look, I lost. Of course I lost.
Yeah.
I have only one.
Maniac.
Like I can only do one thing, right? Like,
wow,
so,
you literally sound like Bridger.
yeah, I mean, like it's a little bit liberating in a way, and like this is a game at the end of the day. I almost think everybody should have their orc army. Everybody should have their Beast Claw Raiders. Like everybody should have their army that they just get to say, hey, I'm going to show up and run at you and try to smash your face.
That's something we've talked about before, right?
Yeah.
Is considering like what armies do you have now, and then what gives you a very different play style.
Yes.
And that's a totally valid way of doing it and keeping things fresh. And like, well, why do you why do you have these two armies when they're basically the same?
Yeah, and so that would be that. What Adrian's saying, I think I would add to that, right? Messiah would say, like, do you want more of the same? And maybe you do. Like when it comes to lore in 40K, when I start my second army, I want it more of the same. I want it more good guy aliens.
Right, and if you like, you like what you like, right?
And quite frankly, one kind of sub faction that appeals to me, I've always thought that the who are the Triarch stuff from the Necrons.
Yeah.
I love that they're not necessarily good guys.
Yeah.
But they're not like the plotting Machiavellian dynasties.
Sure,
they're like these they're like the peace brokers and the police force of the Necrons,
Exactly.
right? Like,
exactly.
So look deep in these different factions as well and say like what lore appeals to me.
Yeah, I used to when I was a kid. I actually did have a Tyranid army, and the models are gorgeous and I loved them, but I just couldn't get into it. I was like, they were just kind of faceless, not named, nothing. And so as much as I loved them, I think I gave them to my brother because I just couldn't get into it. So I totally get it. And don't force yourself to like something that you are not feeling with any of these metrics.
Yep.
So I think that's an important thing. But yeah, these are absolutely great ways of looking at it.
Okay, I'm doing my OSL here. So this color that I use for my purple glow on my T'au, it's actually a Minotaur color. I love Minotaur for glow effects because it goes on so translucently. This is called Demonic Skin.
Oh,
but
nice.
quite frankly, it is very similar to Genestealer Purple. And I think it's called that, the Genestealer one.
Yeah, Genestealer, yeah.
I've used Genestealer as well, and you actually really can't tell much of a difference.
Sure. This is the dark one, yeah?
No.
Is it dark purple?
No. Then maybe
okay.
I'm saying the wrong.
Demon at Hide? Yeah, that's Demon at Hide.
Demon at Hide. Okay, yeah.
yeah,
I think
I
I've
think
used.
so.
I think I've used that as well.
Yeah. The one is kind of an accent color for the other one often.
Yeah.
So I'm into it.
Where are you at?
I am beginning the weathering process, and I'm just kind of going in and doing all these different chips. So I'm taking my brush and I'm kind of doing. Oh, sorry. And I'm doing basically edge highlighting, but we're going like this, and I'm kind of in a way doing sloppy edge highlighting, right? Because I want these sort of chips to come through, and this is now using my Corvus Black, which I really like Corvus Black for this.
I love Corvus Black.
It's so perfect because it's not pure black. You don't want pure black. Like you have pure black underneath here, but this kind of suggests like half scratched paint or fully scratched paint with like dirty metal underneath, and so it does a lot of the suggesting of, it does a lot of your work for you. So again, I'm just going around these edges. I'll try to pick out some of the details like this. I'm just doing little taps and little scratches, making sure it doesn't look too brushy. I love doing this stuff though. This is one of my favorite things about painting.
I know. I'm excited to do. I always am doing weathering. I get my weathering fix, quite frankly, on terrain.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I don't really play armies that are dirty.
Yeah, nice boy you.
I know. I just don't like it.
Don't like it.
I don't like I don't know. I like my I've never loved weathering armies.
Yeah.
I've always kind of enjoyed the look of armies that are clean,
super clean
on the battlefield,
yeah.
and then having the world around them. But I will say that it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, look, it's just not a Zach style.
Yes.
But I love it.
You're glad it exists.
I'm glad it exists, and
Yep.
I love it. I love when it's done
Everyone
well.
else can have dirty armies, and I'll have beautiful shining beacons of hope and light.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look, I would play Lumineth if it wasn't for the fact that everybody
Hates them.
Everybody hates them, and also everybody like bought all the models right away and got excited. I'm glad I don't. Oh my gosh, it just does not seem.
But you could like.
You just have to take other things in the.
You just have to take other. There's a lot of other stuff in that book.
Yeah, it's true.
Turns out.
Well, thank you, Gloop. Gloop just says Mastodon. Gloop, I don't know how much more we can talk about the Mastodon, but we love it.
You're not wrong,
both
Mastodon.
Of us. You're not wrong. And I think, honestly, I'll say this about the Mastodon.
All right.
I almost want to use the Mastodon as like a terrain piece. That's
how we get it on the table.
Have a smashed wall, and you see the Mastodons come through it.
Yeah.
And put that kind of in the back.
That'd be so good.
We could do some cool, also like your shots, like the trailers we do and stuff. We could do some cool stuff.
Should make this happen.
Just using a Mastodon like that, I think.
Super into it.
My glow effect on my T'au is really only 2 steps. More modern versions of Zach's armies use like 3 glow effect colors, but I just do 2. So it's just the demonic skin, and then it's going to be Minotaur Snow White in small areas. And look, I will say that I feel so good to be painting T'au again. Yeah. I can tell over this past year I've pushed myself to do more in my armies and try different things. This feels just really good to do.
Feels natural, probably.
It feels very natural, feels very easy. I don't think I would win any kind of higher volume painting competitions with this. But I will say this is a little bit of a humble brag, and I'm not saying it because it's a brag. I'm saying it for anyone who's thinking, like, what's a level I can get to and have. And it did win narrative best painted at the BAO, I think in 2019
I didn't know that.
or 18.
The last BAO
it was like 28 people or something like that. That's not a lot of people.
But tell us that.
No, but look, but it inspired me to want to get better. You know what I mean? And so like when I got that little BAO best painted trophy for that little event, I was like so proud. I was like, oh man, now I want to paint even more. So it was my first airbrushing army. And look, I actually don't go back and try to level this paint scheme up. I just keep going with this. I've actually thought about starting a new T'au army. That's like maybe I was kind of thinking like orange, red, and white with like orange as the main color. And I probably will at some point in my life.
That's sexy.
I think I probably will at some point in my life just to have a new like leveled up T'au army. But in the meantime, this looks perfectly fine. I'm very happy with it. And like I know I've gone better. But that's okay. I actually don't. For people who wonder, like, do I go back and try to put my things I've picked up back into an army I've been working on forever?
Right.
I don't. I just it's just fun now. Like it's just easy. It's fun. It's like it feels good to do. I can knock it out pretty fast. I'm happy with the level it's at, and so I don't need to. I don't need to necessarily try. There might be some things, but I'm not gonna introduce any new hardcore concepts into the fundamental way I paint this army.
Exactly. And I think that's important. I think a lot of people
they stress over that.
And there's this confusion between a good paint scheme and a high detail paint scheme.
Oh, good. Oh, that's such a good way of thinking about it.
And especially as someone who's done commissions a lot, it's like, well, I think even if you're doing the most quote-unquote basic paint level where it's just the colors in the right spot and then maybe like a wash or two, that can still be good and well done. But just because you haven't gone in and done a million edge highlights and things like that doesn't make it a bad paint scheme. And so I think when you're painting your own army, you kind of want to consider what is your goal there, and that it's totally fine. It doesn't have to be golden demon winning kind of paint job. And it's not that it's bad. It's just that this is the metric that you're using to get it done by, especially if you're someone that wants to be able to get your whole army together and paint. Like golden demon painters are awesome, but let me tell you, they don't do their whole armies in that level of detail, and that's totally cool.
At least not within 1 decade.
Not within, I mean, these guys spend like a year on one model.
Yeah.
That's not even a Custodes army at that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's fine. Not even.
It's actually no army. It's not even a Knight's army.
It's not even, well, it could be a Knight's army. No, because that it'll take longer than a year there.
Yeah, I know, right?
So I just think it's important because people, I think, they use it to get down on themselves a lot.
I think so.
Not good. Don't do that.
I think that's true, and you want to, Israel's great for this too, right? Because he does crank out a ton of armies at a very high level.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a good place to try to want to get to. Colin Ward as well, right? These guys that crank out the armies without, both these guys are incredible painters. I'm sure if they recalibrated their priorities, they could win a Golden Demon.
Sure.
But then they would be like, didn't do much else this year.
Yeah,
like
100%, 100%. And even, Colin's an interesting example too, because he's not really taking, I don't speak entirely for him, but to my knowledge, he's not really taking new commissions that do the whole army all the way through, the whole model. He actually is doing a lot of airbrush commissions.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he does the airbrush work and the base work because he loves doing that.
Yeah.
And it's a level that he enjoys taking it to, and then someone else goes ahead and does kind of the next level of detail, whatever it is. And I think that's really cool that someone of his caliber is like down to do that.
Yeah. So for me, I'm very excited about my T'au paint scheme, doing it again. I'm excited for the new T'au to come out. Woo. And I will say that, look, like if a model, like a lot of characters have just, a lot of models have just been, like armies have just been getting a character right now.
Yeah.
I think GW wants to just crank out releases. But if T'au got like a cool, like large crisis suit character and he had a weird weapon with a weird lens on it or something, I wouldn't say I wouldn't try to add something there.
Of course.
But like you can level up your army that way. But as far as like doing more airbrush layers or whatever, I'm not going to do anything like that because I want this army to have a uniform look on the table. I don't want to still look and be like,
this guy's much nicer than this guy.
yeah, what's going on here?
Gosh, I have that with one of my orc planes. I have one Jet that's like dry brushed by hand, and then one that's done with airbrush. And they're like kind of cohesive if you don't look. You don't look at them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, do I fix it? Do I just leave it? I've mostly been just leaving it. I'm not stressing about it.
I know.
But it's definitely there.
Yeah.
And it kind of just happened. I didn't intentionally
I don't
do it.
think there's one right answer to that.
Absolutely. No, of course.
Thank you, Stephen Looney, as always. Thanks. Good to hear from you again, Stephen. Evening Titans, how would you like to see the Warp Spider get some more love? They have great abilities, a Phoenix Lord, power blades on all models.
Yeah, why don't they have a Phoenix Lord, first of all? There's no Warp Spider Phoenix Lord.
Oh, so I
me about that.
I think he's like missing, or he's either missing, which means he could come back.
Yeah.
Or he's dead. I'm okay without I'm okay that not everyone gets a Phoenix Lord. I like the idea of these missing.
I want the Crimson Hunter XR Phoenix Lord. He's a Phoenix Hunter that's also a plane.
Oh. Yeah, you just use the same model?
I don't know. No, the new model, he's going to be like fabulous because that's also anyways, I'm off topic here.
No, some of them don't have Phoenix Lords. You're right.
You're talking about Drazar.
I feel like I think he's missing.
That vaguely rings a bell.
Like he might have did one of those warp jumps and never came out the other side.
He might have hotwired a car and made a break for it. Those warp spiders, man, you got to watch out for them. They'll break into your car like nothing.
Yeah. So Steven, you've got people that can answer this question here on multiple levels because we're Eldar fans. We play and we hobby. I'll start with hobbying. I actually like the look of the current Warp Spider. I like the bulkiness of them. Just like the T'au stealth suit. I love this idea that these aliens can be like, hey, I'm going to make this bulky, like goofy looking thing, but it's going to be totally silent, or it's going to be fast because it's fast because it disappears and reappears. Yeah. Right. So I love the the current model. I don't want them to change a thing about it. I just want it to be plastic and be more posable. I don't want them.
You like this? You like this?
No, that's what I'm saying. I want it to be more posable.
But the actual design of the character per se, you're fine with.
I'm fine with.
I agree because they don't move in traditional methods, right?
Right.
I don't need to be bulky, or I don't need to be like not bulky because I just teleport around.
Right.
I love that.
Same with it. Like T'au. Like we just have jetpacks and sound dampening technology.
Right.
So we're just like, we're just gonna be big, so we're armored and have huge guns. Right. Like, I guess of course. Listen, I will say this about them. I think they're the perfect unit, and a lot of units get this treatment. I think they're the perfect unit where it's like give them power blades or give them a gun. And they're these aspect warriors that whether they're really good at close combat or really good at shooting is not their thing anyway. Right. Their thing is the warp jump.
Thing is movement.
So give them an okay gun, a little bit of AP, maybe like a weird strength or something. Like the one they have is actually good. Yeah. Actually, just give them the two weapons they have and let them all take them. They can either take power blades, or
give them all power blades,
or the monofilament gun.
Yeah, because that's one of the current problems with the design of the current aspect warriors is it's like, so if you look at Dark Reapers, for example, and their Exarch abilities, like half of them are good at doing the thing that they're supposed to do, which is shooting, and then half of them are for like things to do when you get caught in melee. And it's like, cool, so you're like kind of better at the thing that you're not good at anyways. Like why either lean into it, make them be able to do both, or just make them good at the thing they're supposed to be good at.
But warp spiders, I agree with this, but warp spiders in particular are like well suited to be like, I'm gonna pick which one they're okay at.
No, I agree with
They're never gonna be as good at close combat as banshees. They're never gonna be as good at shooting as dark reapers. But like here they are, they could like, let me give them all guns or let me give them all power blades, and of course one option is gonna be better, right? We see this with Zangors, right? Like unfortunately overall the spears are just better. But like
we'd like for that to not be the case.
We'd like for that to not be the case. Like actually, yes, okay, I'll ask for that. I would like for that to not be the case.
Thank you.
I'd like
non-Bridger ways.
Right.
It's like, well, it's
let me ask for that. I would like to be. I would like to fill 3 fast attack slots. With 10 each. Happily. I'd like to be able to have that army and like. 2 are close combat, 1 shooting. And maybe it's not the most powerful army, but it's like good and it's fun. Like So, Steven, that's I don't know. What do you think? What do you want to see out of Dark Reapers?
I agree.
Out of Warp Spiders?
Well, Dark Reapers, I can tell you. No.
Yeah, Dark Reapers too. Really.
Warp Spiders. I mean, growing up, I was kind of the hipster kid that was like, my favorite aspect warrior is the Warp Spiders.
Is the Warp Spider.
Legitimately.
I love the
they're
Warp
so
Spider.
cool.
Yeah.
I agree with them. The design should stay the same. Just make them dynamic. Make them, even in a way, make them feel almost bulkier. And all about movement. Look at Interceptors for Grey Knights. That's like the Grey Knight unit other than the Knights. Because they're fast, they fight decently well, they have a good strat.
Yes.
These are all the things I'd like to see for them. I don't want them to be just jump pack units. They need to be different than Swooping Hawks, for example. And these are guys that maybe, they start on the board, but they're jumping around, where Swooping Hawks start off the board, and I don't know.
You know what I want? I want them to have a stratagem. That's the AOS redeploy.
The AOS redeploy?
Yeah.
Oh, the D6. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not that powerful. It's not that broken. In AOS, it's a part of how you play the game.
I think it's fine if it's just like movement.
Yeah.
There was a time, not too well ago, I guess it was a while ago, but the year that one of the years that Alex Harrison won LVO, he was spamming Warp Spiders. This was 7th edition.
Okay.
Like just all Warp Spiders, because they were just, when you shoot at them, they get to teleport.
Oh, no.
So you could never shoot at them.
Yeah, no. See, that's the type
but
of
it's
thing.
more limited.
And that also wasn't a stratagem, right?
No, yeah, they just did it.
So I'm suggesting, sure, maybe even what I'm saying they could just do. And frankly, in AOS, you have to get pretty close for assault. You don't have to get that close in 40k.
I agree.
So it might even be okay to let every Warp Spider unit get 1d6, or maybe have a stratagem for 2d6.
Sure,
right?
sure. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, stuff like that. Like, again, movement. This is a unit that's about movement. It's not about killing, really. They can kill, they can fight, but truly their identity is movement.
And as far as their killing goes, I want them to also be able to like finish off things. That's the thing. I want them to be able to go help the Banshees because you've got the power blades.
Sure.
Go help the fire. Like go over that side, help the Banshees with your gun, right? Or like, I need to get stuck in, or I need to assault. Someone needs to assault an impulsor.
Go assault that man.
Like you can assault the impulsor. You're not going to kill it. You're going to tie it up. You might chip a few wounds off of it.
Right.
Like that's I want utility and a little bit of killing.
Unit, but like actually, they're not like you call them a harassing unit because they can't do anything else.
Exactly. I want them to be able to. I wanted harassment, true harassment, not distraction.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
I don't think Craft World Eldar should have. They don't have the luxury of distraction. In that army, that army should not. That's like that's a horde army.
They have no chill.
Yeah,
no chill.
No chill.
I'm going to attempt to do some airbrush again. One thing I'm going to do is on this original Ridgerunner. He's got this nice burnished brass gold top here. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm going to just kind of rotate it as you can get past the glare, and it's got almost like a fade. So I'm going to take some brown, kind of cutting from the back, and you can see I ended up actually painting the gold here because I think it's going to be closer to what I want. Applying some brown coming from this direction, doing an Agrax wash on the whole thing, and while I'm at it, I'm going to do some of this darkening because you can see my scheme is still a bit lighter. That lowest tone is still not quite there, so we're gonna try for it, and I will try. Though I make absolutely no promises that I will keep my hair out of the camera for you guys, just for you.
It's nice being over here. You don't have to do that. I'm like,
I realize. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been on this side. So this is a new thing for me, and I hate it.
Yeah. Well, I'll show you guys what I'm doing while he sets himself up. I'm actually doing some edge highlighting.
Hey,
and so I'm
nice.
edge highlighting with Utheron Gray. I'm actually using the layer paint. You guys know I love me some air paint all the time.
Yeah.
But for edge highlighting with a light color like this, I actually do like to use GW's. Go ahead. I got you here on camera, Adrian.
Oh, hi.
But
There you
make
go.
sure you get that. Don't spray that. Yeah, there you go.
What? Don't
I
spray
was
what?
just worried you're going to spray the
original?
The original.
Yeah, that would.
That would be one way to get them to look the same.
Yeah, so I just painted the other model again. Sorry, Izzy.
Yeah, so I'm doing some edge highlighting. Again, brushing for edge highlighting. The brush doesn't matter a lot because you're really, in this case, I'm using the side of the brush a lot. For T'au vehicles are so nice to edge highlight. They're so easy. They just take.
They're meant for it.
They're meant for it. They take it very well. They have lots of spots to do it, but also lots of spots not to do it. And lots of spots where you can kind of pick if you want to do it, and it's going to look good one way or the other. As always, I do my kind of selective spotty edge highlighting, not like straight lines all over everything, but kind of picking a few spots and just knocking out a little, putting breaks in the lines on my edge highlighting. I would say that's a more modern edge highlighting approach than what people did even 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, for sure. Gosh, yeah. It used to be so brutal. Savage gains.
Use Savage Gains, yeah. Thank you, Liberty Fires. Just finished my Harlequin kill team with Static Grass on the base. Thank you, Zach and Titans, for all your help. Blood Bowl Dwarves are next with Speckled Stone for the armor with a dark blue accent. Oh, so Speckled Stone is actually fairly similar, I think, like, correct me if I'm wrong, Liberty Fires, if you're still around, but almost like the Baneblade Brown. So it's like a dark khaki.
Oh, nice.
I think, or is it gray? Maybe like a grayish khaki, kind of like you're doing over here.
Totally.
But if I'm correct, that's a great color for dark blue to live with.
Absolutely.
I love like khaki and dark blue together, especially the khakis I kind of like.
Speckled Stone. I love it. And hey, Harlequins, congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a great kill team, right? Because you can really put the time and the effort in. Look at these Ridgerunners. They're like twins.
Yeah.
That brown actually did it. They like fixed it. I'm not even going to do the wash.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't.
No,
want to
don't. No.
I won't. You know, I think we'll just keep going. Keep darkening it.
Why not? Let's just keep
I will
trying
do brush wash on the bronze and the gold with the Agrax. So that's my next step.
Oh, well, just a quick thank you to Megan, who reminded me to check Michael Cody's comment from last week.
Oh, okay.
And I will do that, and I can do that because of the new bot Bridger has built for
Bridger
us.
bot.
Thank you, Bridger. And so let's just go back and have a little peek at that one. There it is. Michael Cody loves to do these nice, like, hey guys, have a great weekend ones, and they're always so nice. He just said, have a weekend so good that you're happier than a moss lady from Arkansas who just found a whole new customer base that's used to overpaying. I love that aspect. Yeah, last week
talking about that, right?
we talked about Teresa's Plants LLC, which is a company that, actually, I don't know, company I guess is the right word, but this lady in Arkansas who has this, where I get my moss from, quite frankly.
I love it.
She's my moss lady.
That's such a Zach thing, and I love it.
To have a moss lady.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
You
so
and her are kindred spirits.
I've only chatted with her a little bit once via email. If I'm ever down the area, I would love a tour of the moss farm.
Oh man.
So I'll definitely hit her up.
That'd actually be super cool.
Actually, it would be cool. She does a lot of other stuff, like as far as where 40K and her intersect. I think the reindeer moss is the thing, but she does other stuff as well, like just like stuff for people who like do plan arrangements and stuff like that.
Oh,
as far as
yeah,
like
totally.
hobby stuff goes.
That's so funny. I love it. I love it when people have very niche things that they are into, like wargamer. You know, like
right.
It's just, I don't know, it makes me really happy.
Yeah, it's nice, and it is cool when some of the stuff intersects like this, and you're like,
Yeah, like this unique weird thing that I'm into is like overlapping with this weird unique thing that you're into.
Right.
Let's talk about that. Be excited about being excited about these things.
Like going to a Michael's is like always fine. Like I'm always fine to go to a Michaels, right? Like actually,
Sure.
in some ways, right?
In some ways.
But the lines are so long at the register.
Oh my gosh, it is so long.
I don't know what's up with that, but other than that, I do love going to a Michaels because you're just like, I just browse. I'm like, ooh, do I get any ideas from here?
That was dangerous. Mel and I love going to Michaels. We're just like, it's a Michaels day. We're going to Michaels. And they do kill your cell phone reception, though, when you get in. I swear. It's like it's a
Michaels
conspiracy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to pull off these hazard stripes. And
Let's do it.
hopefully it's not too embarrassing. Hiya! Beautiful. Got a little underspray. Hiya! You can see where the tape covered too much, which is fine. That's what weathering's for.
Weathering, great for fixing your mistakes.
It's all what it's about. Okay, we've got some stripes there. Let's see the other side. He did them so tiny. I didn't get them as tiny as he did. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 yellow stripes, and I only have 3 yellow stripes.
Well,
Wow. That'll show me. That's an extra $100.
look, I actually thought that Adrian had painted these at first.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot because Israel's an incredible painter.
Yeah,
Like
incredible
I can't compare to Israel, not yet. One day maybe.
Well,
right?
again.
That's the goal.
What we discussed earlier. Different goals, different amounts of
Different
time
goals,
you spend on it.
Very true.
100, and Izzy would 100% agree. So, look, I'm happy with these. I need to clean up this mess here, and so, I kind of want to do with airbrush. Normally, what I would do here is I use index cards or kind of hard cardstock to create little mini masking setups. So, I think I might actually grab some from the other room.
Yeah, we don't have any. We actually do need to have some of those.
I think we have some cardstock from printing. Let me see.
Okay, well, here's what we're going to do while Adrian does that. We're going to get going on some fan stuff. Obviously, we want Adrian to see the fan stuff too, but don't worry because we're going to have a few passes of this.
And I'm back.
And he's back, so he's going to see the fan stuff right now anyway. I know I say this every week, folks, but it is getting increasingly challenging to pick a limited amount of good fan stuff. Because there is seemingly an unlimited amount of really good fan stuff. So I also wanted to kind of, by that same, well, let me say this. Slightly counter to that is I did have the idea of doing an all tanks version.
Oh, yeah.
And I was almost like, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to look back. I have the time today. I was like, I'm going to look back through the whole year and find as many tanks as I can and just do it. But you know what? People have really not been painting tanks this year.
What?
You
What's
know,
up with that, guys?
I mean, look, like
tanks.
when it comes to 40K, 9th Ed kind of started hardcore infantry.
That's
heavy,
true.
right?
That's true.
And
Here's a question, Zach.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Here's a question. Is a buggy a tank?
Look, I actually didn't see a lot of vehicles in general. I would say, by the way, overall, the answer to that question is absolutely not. They're both vehicles.
Again, insensitive and closed-minded, but okay.
They're not tank. I mean, like,
They're vehicles.
where do we draw the line on a tank?
This is a battle I've been losing for years. If you look at the very first Tanksgiving versus tomorrow's Tanksgiving, you'll see I've lost that battle long ago.
Yeah.
And now I have to stand by it.
So I will say that there's, again, I wasn't able to do that because weirdly enough, there weren't really enough tanks when I went back. And also, Discord's good for a lot of things. Discord's not actually really great for going back like 12 months in a group as big as ours.
There's just so much, you know?
Like in my narrative play group in Fault Line, we go, you know, if I need to go back 12 months, there's like 24 of us in there. It'll happen, right? But in like the world, in like Discord's largest 40K channel, it's not really a thing. So
exactly.
I just kind of played it straight this week. Normal fan stuff. I did find a lot of tanks though from the past week. Okay. Oddly enough. So I did include any of those I found. Let's have a look here.
Let's do it.
Starting off right away with the tank. Looking great. This is a great paint job on this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just nice and clean, fast. I'm sure this did not take that long. This is actually a Xeno Drake who I know we met right at SoCal. Super cool guy.
Purple. Oh, these purple squigs.
They are purple squigs and they look great.
Look at this.
A little more orc action here.
That's
for
a tank.
You. That is a tank. Yeah, like I said, I found a few tanks actually from the past week.
I love it.
Thomas B. I painted one of these recently, and he did Him and I have kind of these similar, almost like cartoon-looking tendrils coming out.
Tentacles are so similar.
Yeah, they came out really good.
Look at this beautiful masking here.
yeah,
Yeah, white
this
stripe. This is, we're talking about the T'au with the orange and the turquoise.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that I'm talking about.
Yeah, that would look good. And
Yeah.
I think that he said he had a little bit
Fear?
more to do that. Yeah, this is Fear. And I wanted to kind of capture the cloak here because he
Yes.
did a nice job on the cloak.
I'm super into it.
This paint scheme is so good.
What?
This is almost kind of,
BL10?
I don't know what it is.
Wait, is that NMM? I need to like see that closer.
Yeah, here's some Final Fantasy IX.
Oh my god, it's so cool.
Yeah, he's been painting these up. This guy in the group has been painting these up, and they look good.
I love them. They're so classic
Yeah,
fantasy.
we'll come back around. This tank looks
Castigator.
great black.
Okay, well this is a tank's tank. You know what I'm saying?
This is a Tanks tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta get some of those.
Okay, here's Bryce. We've been chatting about Bryce.
what up, Bryce?
Here's our boy Bryce, and these are his Skaven that he's been
Those
working
look
on.
amazing.
Bryce airbrushes, but I don't think he loves airbrushing. I feel like Bryce always wants to be hand brushing.
At heart. Oh yeah, getting that repping the. Look at this turquoise and orange.
Turquoise,
Vallejo blue, green, orange. Maybe.
Yeah, they like inverse your color
I
scheme.
love it.
Here from Jolly
love it.
Miniatures. There's more of these. I picked this close up of this one that he did. There's like 4 or 5 photos there.
Details, pretty amazing.
They're all so good. Yeah.
Great scheme on this.
Lots of times,
Scourge.
some of these you guys got to go into the Discord because there's more than one picture, and I only ever put up one for someone's project, but he actually had a whole unit of those.
So cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I see. Yeah, the fell blade is just a base coat. Well, it looks amazing for base coat. So, and I love this scheme. Is that World Eaters? Looks like old school World Eaters.
The Fellblade?
The fell blade.
No, shouldn't be. Oh, unless it's like inverse.
Huh? Oh, because it's blue and then white rather than white and blue.
Yeah, it's like a dark blue.
Okay. This
I
one.
don't know.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Alpha?
No.
Well, he's
You're in
the
chat.
room. Yeah, Drytham. What's the legion or the chapter that's going on? Is it a legion? Is it a
even?
heresy thing? Or
Yeah,
is
just kind of assumed.
this Eldar thing, this color though, great. You kind of can't see it great from Adrian from where you and I are on the TV.
Correct.
Folks at home probably can, but the helmet, he's just done such an amazing job with the kind of like the shine and the green on there. Just it looked crazy good.
Oh my gosh. These are awesome, guys, as always. I know the Discord is very busy, and we don't always get to respond or hang out and chat, but I want to just assure you guys that we do go through it and appreciate it and show each other a lot of the stuff. So regardless of whether or not it makes it here or discussed on the tabletop stream, we really, really love seeing all the stuff that you guys are working on, hobby-wise and gaming-wise. It's an inspiration.
Oh,
truly.
Driftham's doing T-Sun, so like modern T-Sun.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
That's gonna look good.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah,
So
the
good.
reflection is good. What are these guys called?
Scourge,
Scourges, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So awesome stuff as always, folks. So keep it up. Normally we do a little post where we say, hey, we want to see your hobby stuff, blah blah blah. We don't have that geared up on the stream deck right now because instead we have this as a reminder, which is that Hobby Titans recently joined Instagram. We've been doing some posts. Right now we've been doing some posts of some of the stuff we've been like gearing up for in the week, but we've also been doing a backlog of posts from me and Brett. We tossed a cat post up there as well. Not a cat post like Instagram is mostly known for, where you post pictures of your cats, although we could do that,
Wait,
but
what cat?
actually our reoccurring
right.
guest cat.
I did not get that.
So you can see some of her work, and we'll toss some of hers up on occasion.
Yes.
As well as probably some of Adrian's.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, please, if you haven't already, search us on Instagram at hobby.titans. Instagram is an amazing place for hobbies.
It's a great place.
It's a great place for hobbies.
This is I'd say, it goes so far to say this is the primary way that I consume other people's hobby content.
Me too.
Just constantly on there,
Yeah.
looking, admiring, commenting, liking. So do join us, and if you post stuff in Instagram, tag us, tag Hobby Titans Instagram, and that's the way we can see it. It's another great way to share.
Yeah.
That maybe is a bit more personal too.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll like very much see it. And there's just some crazy painters on there, and a lot of people who are really high level painters on there are actually offering their like what they do, like not even behind a paywall. Like they're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can actually find some awesome techniques. And one thing we'd like to start doing soon, probably in the new year, is kind of doing some deep dives into some Instagram accounts we think deserve it. where we kind of find somebody and say, like, let's look at some of their work and pull it
that's
up
cool.
and just give them a big shout out. Many of the people that we want to do that for, you know, I'm like, oh, this guy deserves a shout out, and no surprise, I like look and he's got like 15,000 followers. I'm like, well, he doesn't really need that from us.
Need the help
Definitely
from
doesn't
us.
need that from us, but. You know, those Instagram guys, who knows? Maybe they'll be like, oh, YouTube. Somebody talked about me on YouTube. Because I think a lot of those guys and people involved in that high-level painting are just like, man, nose down, just cranking out.
Yes.
Like again, like we talked about, a model a week, but like still not quite the army painting level of output, but just like wanting to get, you know, really high-level models out like every week. Their tutorials and stuff. So awesome stuff on Instagram.
It's
yeah.
super, super cool.
Okay.
I am very nearly done.
Me too. What I'm gonna do, I have a little bit of cleanup to do, and I want to try one last thing. I said I'm not gonna do anything new to this guy, but I lied slightly.
Yeah, I know.
And I'll kind of show you guys what it is I'm gonna do here. I tried it out a little bit earlier today. I'm just gonna take like. So when
Can I steal small brush?
Yeah, absolutely. Is that small enough or is that too big?
It's too big. Can I try one of these?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I just don't want to, without your permission.
No, actually, I don't think I need it anymore. So what I'm gonna do here real quick on this guy is I'm gonna do a couple, just pretty much black blast marks.
Okay.
Like he's been hit maybe by...
An orc vehicle?
Definitely not an orc vehicle.
Okay.
Because the reason is it's not going to have any like look of anything other than the blast mark. And well, that's not true. There's a little texture here. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is because I buffed this with a tool. That tore some of it up a little bit. And you guys probably haven't been able to see that from this level of detail. The way I'm going to do this, you can kind of see me practicing here. Is sort of pulling away from it. Like here's where the mark hits, and then going down like it's like this is where it hit, and then it flew backwards, right? That's kind of the look we're going for. There's a number of ways to do this. I'm going to put kind of one right here. So just like some darkening, actually, believe it or not, and almost like, yeah, just like he got hit there by something, and it kind of did a little bit of a burn. And then I'm going to come around to the front now that I've got the burn down, and I'm going to just where the hit actually happened, just put a little more energy, a little more action there. Like you know, that's where the actual blast made contact. Let's do one up here as well. Really making sure I go in a straight line because I want the effect of like he's flying towards something. And somebody shot him with something like a plasma or something like that.
Cool. Like a custom Mega Blaster, maybe.
Sure, sure. Or if you like, a custom Mega Blaster is fine.
Specifically.
Yeah. But when you're doing this, keep in mind, like this technique of doing this, you're only using one paint and one tool. So your tool to give some differentiation and depth on this is how much you're putting on and like the intensity level. So there's one there's one here. I think I'm probably going to call it at those two, quite frankly.
Totally.
I don't think I want more than that. I could, yeah. Anywhere else I put it, it's going to start looking almost like too symmetrical.
Right.
I could maybe go here. Let's do one more here. So starting one more time, kind of, I'm actually doing it backwards at first and doing like the streak first. And then where I come back here and I see like right where is the point of contact. And and it needs to be oblong, not round, again, because we're traveling forward.
Right.
Always putting one single point, though, at the very end of actual, like, right where the blaster hit. There we go. Okay, now, as we were talking about earlier when we were talking about weathering, we were saying that you could say, you know, should we go in and paint a little bit of metal here, like it peeled off the paint, and you could do that. I'm not going to do that today anyway, and I don't, quite frankly, think I'm ever going to do that. But here's what I'm going to do while I'm at it. I'm going to take my previous Devilfish and give him a blast mark or two. Yeah.
Blast from the path?
Yeah. that's something that's easy enough to put back here. So to unify, and in a way we're like backwards unifying, right?
Right. Yeah. So you are doing the thing where you're painting the other model.
A little bit.
I'm into it.
I think with something like this, it's okay.
I agree.
So just a flash streak there, just like that, and then point of contact. There we go. Okay, cool. I'm gonna put these guys on glam. Oh, I see a big cleanup spot. 1 second.
Uh-oh. Whoa.
I'm gonna put these guys on glam cam in 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Right after I clean up this one little spot.
Cool.
We should zoom in on you in a second.
I am just doing little touches of rust, and I'm not doing anything. Well, I'm not using anything fancy. I'm not using any rust paints or anything, but I'm just taking a little orange paint that's a little gross, which I like, and just applying some in some crevices. I might do some downward streaks, and just a little bit, because he's done just a tiny bit. I want to keep it a bit cohesive into here. So just little bits of orange. You're almost not going to notice it, but when we put this model on a 4K camera on stream, then you'll notice it. So yeah, just final touches, trying to unify it with this other one. I think the final thing that this one is missing over the one that Izzy did is purely just more scratches. And it's just more tiny scratches. Other than that, I feel like it's very close, and I'm very happy with that. I might do, if you guys can see, he's actually got some blue lenses here, blue lens here.
I can do a little zoom.
Little zoom. There you go. So you can see there's that sort of side window there, and then this very narrow slit right here. So I think I will add that. Whoops. And let's just do a little random rust or oil spill right there. Perfect. Now let's grab some blue. And I'm just about done. Let's see. A blue. We have lots of blues. This will work.
Okay. This is great. Good timing.
Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna put my dudes here on the glam cam.
Perfection.
The last step I have would be to do my Vallejo Mecha Varnish, which I can.
Mecha varnish?
That's what it's called.
What? That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what
So
I use.
is a mecha a tank?
No.
Oh.
I think you just think everything is a tank.
Am I a tank?
You know you're not a tank.
Oh. Yeah. Is there a tank in the room with us? Am I talking to a tank?
There might be a tank in the room with us.
Zach, is the tank in the room with us?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Here we go. Let's put these guys up. All right. Well, actually, I'll put the new one up first.
Sounds great.
And then we want to make sure he looks good compared to the old one. I have not done the varnish, which will, if you're looking at them, you go, they look a little different. That would probably be why.
Yeah.
Kind of the
Beautiful.
total overall look. There's some water that I dripped on it. Let me actually clean that off.
I kind of like it.
Me too, but it can't always be there. This hatch always opens a little bit. I do need to put some decals on the back.
Sure.
And here is the old one.
Oh my God, it's the same model.
So there we go. Yeah, it's kind of nice painting one army. There's a little cleanup I need to do right there on some edge highlighting I can see there, but up near the top. But not bad for about 2 hours of work.
It's so good.
With a lot of gabbing, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
I remain committed to the scheme. I like that I can sit. I actually, it was nice to sit down and spend about, let's say, overall 2 hours, because I did some work before the stream. It's really nice to be able to sit down and be like, here's my army. Yeah. This is one of my main armies in 40K. And I can sit down and say, cool, new tank in 2 hours.
Crank out another one. That's great.
In a night. Yeah.
It's huge. It's because you want to be able to build on this and add to it in the future.
Absolutely. How are we looking here?
I'm feeling good. Let's show it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's glam it up.
So I'm going to switch back to glam cam. We're going to
stop looking at it, because the more I see, the more I'm like, oh, I can add this detail and this detail.
I know, right?
But, so here's the one before. I mean, this is the new one that we did today.
Oh yeah, it looks great.
He looks sexy, right?
Yeah.
It's really cute. I'm into it. And then here's the original one.
Yeah.
Which It's very close, actually.
Yeah, quite good.
I'm really happy with it. I'm glad we figured it out in the end. Dawnstone, huh?
Must be.
No, it wasn't
no.
Dawnstone. It was
Baneblade.
Baneblade Brown. Who knew?
Look, what an achievement! Adrian just on air copied like a high level, insanely high level professional painter in Israel Sanchez.
I'm coming for you, Izzy.
Yeah, like what an achievement.
It feels good. I feel like I did it justice with the level and the time that we have. And it's going to blend perfectly fine with the rest of the army.
Yeah, it's going to look great.
Yeah.
Fun. You have a new Ridgerunner.
Yay! Now I have 3.
That's fun. Awesome. Did we do everything?
I think we did all the things.
What is happening tomorrow on Tabletop Times?
Tomorrow is the official Tanksgiving.
Yep.
This is sort of the Tanksgiving Eve, as you may.
Yeah.
So at our normal time over on Tabletop Titans, our sister channel, we're going to be playing at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I will be bringing the orcs for Tanksgiving, and John will be bringing the Ultramarines for Tanksgiving.
Oh, that's the thing. That's the matchup,
classic.
right?
That is the matchup.
That's the matchup.
Very exciting. John's going to be featuring the Astraeus, naturally,
Okay.
talking about forgeable tanks, and I'm going to be featuring the Stampa, also a tank.
Also a tank. Look, I think here's the thing. I think that for Tanksgiving, it's okay for a Stampa to be there. Like,
Look, in the spirit of Tanksgiving.
Look, that Astraeus wants something meaty to shoot at. We do want to see the tanks shooting at. I think tanks should be shooting at.
Yeah.
Also, I do think that Ultramarines and Orcs maybe any good guy Marine versus Orcs, or I guess you could do Chaos versus what's like a good. I just don't want to see Chaos versus Imperium for Tanksgiving. Chaos versus Guard, Astra Militarum is also like a good one.
That's classic.
Because you don't want to see the same tanks shooting at each other.
Well, exactly. Right? And we have had different factions each year. You know, the first year we did T'au versus Guard.
Also
then we did
also
Classic.
Good.
We did Eldar versus Space Wolves, which was super weird and wild.
Unusual for a Tanksgiving matchup, but pretty cool.
Pretty cool, right? I had 3 Lynxes. Go check it out.
Yeah.
And then now, of course, Orcs versus Ultramarines. So it's going to be exciting. Of course, that's going to be tomorrow.
Awesome.
Hopefully be there. Otherwise, do have a good Tanksgiving.
Do you have a good Tanksgiving? Next week on the stream is you again, right?
Yes.
Yes. Next week on the stream is you. Adrian, can you lean to either your left or your right? Maybe your right. Okay, and Brett and Adrian are finally going to be getting to that behind him, the Chownath box.
Very exciting.
They've been eyeing it up, and so those two will be on. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up in December we're excited about, but we'll only tease out that far. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. As we always like to say here, be kind to yourself, be kind to each other, and always be creating. Oh no, Instagram.
Happy Titans!
Oh my god.